Another year, another... Tanda ko na. I'm old. Pero age is just a number. Ano yung feeling na as you get older, parang hindi ka na nagsaselebrate ang birthday. Ganun. Parang wala na sa isip mo. Kasi dati, di ba, kapag birthday mo, parang, wow, excited, gusto ko gawin to, gusto ko gawin yan. Pero parang ngayon, parang, okay, it's my day. And then lilipas, and then goodbye. And because of that, ayoko na isipin yung age. Diba? Minsan ka nakalimutan ko, ilang taon na ba ako? And share niyo yung live! Wow! 100! Naka 100 tayo dito. Ano, minsan lang to ah. Minsan lang tayo mga 100 viewers dito. Hello po, 100 viewers. Huwag po kayong maalis. Uy, Mami Ken. Hello, Mami Ken. Hello, Dana. Hello, everyone. Rax, Rakim Tayer. Thank you. Salamat. Tuloy mag-invite pa. Mag-celebrate tayo ng birthday dito. Yan. So, if di pa kayo part ng channel ko sa isang app, join kayo doon kasi nag-asa ako ng question doon. And then, sasagutin ko yung mga question mamaya. Okay? If wala kayong ginagawa, magtanong lang kayo doon. At sasagutin natin. Dapat yung mga deep questions, yung mga yes question, let's go. Yung mga itanong niyo. Yes, join na kayo sa channel ko po. Channel 23. Yes. Channel 23. Uy, wala na tayong 100. Wala, iyak na. Sana may magbagsak ng meteor shower, no? And galaxy. Okay, yun yung goal natin for today. Galaxy and meteor shower. Pag may nag-meteor shower dito, magsha-shower na ako. Fangirl Vision, hello! Si 13 invite po kami sa birthday mo. Ito na nga yun, ito na. Meron akong cake. I bought myself a cake. Unbox natin yung cake. Thank you, Christelle. Hala, di ka pa naliligo. Naligo na ako, pero naligo ulit ako, di ba? Habang live. Na-joke lang. No, handa natin, boss. Cake lang, cake. Ooh, what kind of cake daw? We'll see, mamaya. May mga bumoto ba dito? Yan, sana sa mga bumoto kayo ng tama, bumoto kayo ng safe, and sana cute kayo. And sa mga bumoto dyan, good job. Bumoto ka ba? Ako hindi ako bumoto as I am a US citizen, so I cannot vote. Yes, hindi ako makaboto. Yeah, hello, what's up? Welcome to our live. Ilang taon ka na? Wag nyo nang, alam mo yun. Hurting result. Di pa naman tapos ang laban, pero may nakita naman ako mga positive rin na so ayan, 105 na ulit tayo. Huwag na kayong umalis, please. Just stay here. Ilang taon na ako? 18 lang ako, 18. I'm 18 years old. May game ako dali. Participate kayo dito. It's called Around the World. So, pipili tayo ng lugar. And then sa lugar na yun, kailangan nyo magdala ng mga gamit para maasama. 18. Yes, I'm 18. Why? Do you have a problem with it? I'm just kidding. And drop ka na Galaxy. Gift Galaxy. Let's go. Let's go to fight against Copperhead, similar to how Steve Rogers showed off his new fighting technique. Punta tayong Amsterdam. Thank you, Friendship. Thank you, Honey Pami. Thank you, Honey Pimiela again. Sa Amsterdam, magdadala ako ng AirPods. Kasi, syempre, whenever I travel, I listen to music. So, magdadala ako ng AirPods. Kaya, anong dadalhin niya? Phone, earphones, pera, mannequin. Okay, kasama na si Nikki. Mannequin daw. Jacket, no? Hindi ka makakasama. Iwan ka. Pera, iwan ka muna. Hindi ka kasama. Phone, no? Iwan ka muna. Phone and wallet, iwan ka muna. Okay, si Nikki pala makakasama. Ako next, magdadala ako ng money. I'll bring money. Siyempre sa Amsterdam, di ba? Paano ka makakagala if wala ang money? Kayo, anong dadalhin nyo? Axe, pagkain, no? Wallet, iwan ka muna. May pera na ako, ba't mo kailangan ng wallet? Ako na mag-hawak ng pera mo. Polaroid, hindi, iwan ka muna. Dali mo si Saraos, iwan ka muna, boy. Next! Okay, wala. Iwan kayo. Ay, hindi! Saraos, oo, pwede. Pwede nang dalhin sa Saraos. Balita ako, nalilibre daw yun eh. So, sige, sama natin. Passport, no? Iwan ka muna. Ako next, magdadala ako ng tinapay. Siyempre, magagala tayo doon. Magugutom tayo, so I'll bring tinapay. Hoodie? Mainit nun. Hindi ka pwede juice. Hindi na, may dadala akong milk tea. Ay, dadala akong kape. Kape? Hindi na. Iwan ka na muna. Hindi na kailangan. Next, magdadala ako ng elephant. Siyempre, hindi naman tayo pwede naglalakad lang. Mapapagod rin tayo. So, nagdadala ako ng elephant para sakyan natin, diba? Ako, may ligaw sa elephant eh. So, I'll bring an elephant. Fun, robot. Di nanonood si Shay sa live. Boy, Shay, asang ka? Rambutan. Okay. Mukhang si Nikki lang kasama. Ayaw niyo ba sumama? Radyo. E-bike. Iwan ka muna. Okay. Camera, Dunkin, remote, shout out. Ewan ko sa inyo. Bahala kayo. Siya, mag-ask na tayo ng questions. Dali. Tanong nga kayo. Inutusan. Sorry. Bastos eh. Gadala ng date. Wow. Okay, start tayo sa questions. According to Kurt NGL _, how old are you na po? Bruh, why asking about age, bruh? Sabi ni Francey, kailan mo bibigyan si Adi ng tita? Now we saw something similar when Brody was recast in Iron Man 2. Well, to be honest, I really planned on having a family at the age of 23, and I'm a few years late na. Pero actually, if hindi ako sumali ng under 19, if I didn't flew to Korea, siguro by now may pamilya na ako. Yeah. Kung sa States ako, siguro mga 6 na yung anak ko. Legit. Wala nga halong biro. Talagang gusto ko na magka-family before. Ayun. So yeah. Let's go. Legit. Hi daddy daw. What's up? Ako magiging ninong ng anak mo. Tama yan, oo. Invited ka sa kasal. And sa binyag. Binyag agad. Makakalating basketball team. Para diba? Ngayon, basketball player ako. Pero in the future, basketball coach. At least may na ako. Meron na akong buong basketball team. Malay mo, dumami pa. Maging 12 para buong team na talaga.
This adamantium is not controlled by a single isolationist nation. Remember, in
Hala.
Wakanda Forever,
Basketball coach yung mga ano. See you sa Saturday. See you! Pero legit, 23. Sabi ko, by 23, I'll have a family. Pero syempre, di ko naman kayang gawin yun na ngayon. Since andito ako sa industry. And syempre, I have my Vxies. Diba? So, kaya na yun. Kaya na yun. Oo. Pati may anak na ako. 4 na anak ko eh, diba? Vision. Next from Shasia.Sha. Sha, diba? What are you looking forward sa Manggahan Festival at Guimaras Province? Asking as a fan from Guimaras. From the name itself, Manggahan, mahilig ako sa mangga. I love manga, mangoes. So yun yung look forward ko. I love me some sweet and tasty mangoes. Ayan. Actually, meron akong snack dito from, what do you call this? Marinduque. It's called arrow root. Di ba siyang titikman? Pero gusto ko munang matikman na ang galaxy. Ayan. Ano titikman natin to? Yeah, the sweetest mango. Talaga? First time namin pumunta sa Guimaras sa Sunday. So, hoping na makatikim kami ng mango. Mango. Okay. Next.
Notice that Rick's jacket has blue accents and her armor is blue and white. This is also
I am Nads. What is the best gift you had and what's the best year for you?
Sidewinder attacks Sam in his SUV in broad daylight, like when Bucky attacked Fury. And then we go
Ano
to
nga
Sam's
ba?
Captain America Age.
Siguro best gift ko is yung nakompleto kami ng family ko way back 2008.
Air Force, him and Bucky, and then this child's
It was...
in this photo, we
May birthday ako nun sa isang resort and during that time kasi yung dad ko andito sa Philippines kasi ano siya OFW and yun yung isa sa mga memorable birthday ko kasi andito siya sa Philippines and celebrate kami buo, so hindi man physical gift, no physical kasi presents, and feel ko yun yung best year ko din, sobrang tinatreasure ko yun.
There was a storyline where Captain America was revealed to have been a secret Hydra agent for decades. He helped Hydra to take over America.
What is from Edre_assistine? What is
So, this base's name is
your first dream job or career, kuya, before you enter the P-pop world?
abilities for this benefit. And when they're traveling to the base, this reminded me of
Career siguro, athlete.
Steve and Natasha were
I'm an athlete before. Lahat ng sports from grade school to high school
by playing the old Atari game.
is nagawa ko. Naging captain ako ng volleyball, captain ng basketball, badminton ako, track and field, soccer. Pero I had to quit soccer because allergic ako sa grass. Talagang namamaga talaga yung mukha ko whenever I play soccer before.
The lab also features this chair, much like the one where he experimented on Bruce and Bill Blonsky in that same.
Saan po kayo sa Los Baños? Sa forestry. Allergic sa grass. Yeah, weird, diba? And then first dream job ko is to be a wrestler. Legit. Trial class ako sa isang wrestling school. And talagang naghanap ako ng another job on the side pa. Para makaipon ako, para maka-enroll ako sa wrestling school. Thank you, Gel_SPRTRG. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday po. Kung di ka P-pop ngayon, ano sana career mo? Feeling ko gusto ko talaga ituloy yung wrestler. Magiging WWE superstar.
So this gave him green skin, a big head, and he soon became fascinated with the Hulk, wanting to create an army of gamma mutates that would worship him.
If bibigyan ng time travel, would you rather go to the past or to the future?
He was a university scientist
From Zayra Keisha.
but unbeknownst to Bruce, he was secretly replicating
Ako gusto bumalik sa past. Gusto ko i-treasure or i-cherish ulit yung mga moments before na hindi ko masyado nabigyang pansin. Kaya gusto ko rin itama yung iba kong mali. Pero di naman pwede itama lahat ng mali kasi minsan from that error or from that mistake, nagkakaroon ng bunga para sa ibang bagay for something better, di ba? And you learn from it. And if itama ako yung mali, edi wala na ako natutunan, di ba?
Talk about that in a future video. Now the leader's look must have changed in reshoots because he looks
So,
totally different in all of the official merch. Although in one scene they did see
yun, kasi I think our past will shape our future din.
Ruth intervenes to save
Oh yeah. Have you been to Boracay? Yes, I've been to Boracay once. And I was still a kid. Ano, alam mo na, mag-Ilocano. Bad words eh. Prayed for you today, Idol. Thank you, Mart. Thank you, Mart. It means a lot. Prayed and declared for more open doors and opportunities. Thank you. Jing, thank you. Ala eh. Hey, it's me, Aryan. Hello, Ala eh. Kilala niyo si ano? What happened, Vela? Nakakausap ko siya. Solid.
He wanted to stop being a monster. He wanted to live long enough to reconcile with his daughter Betty. Inadvertently, Ross's desire to change is what makes him vulnerable to becoming a literal burning rage monster. All through the movie, we see Ross continuing to struggle with his violent instincts as a kid.
Nakausap ko siya sa TikTok. Si What Happened daw. Sabi ko nga, collab kami. Eh, malayo pala talaga siya. Taga-Bataan siya. So, we'll see. Ano yung puntahan ko siya. Mabait siya. I'm trying to learn Tagalog because of P-pop. Where are you from, Justin? Subing. Ay, bata, saan handa mo mamaya? Wala, bumili akong cake. Ito, kakainin ko mamaya. Sino binoto mo, Kuya Finn? Hindi po pwedeng bumoto eh. Paano kayo nagkausap ni What Happened, fella? I'm from Chile. Ano? Paano nga ba nag-usap? Akala niya kasi ako si Edward daw. Sabi niya, what are you doing here? Hindi, joke lang. Ganda na, titikman na natin. Arrowroot. Shout out yung ate ko. Harap! Nagmamelt sa mouth ko. God damn. Ay, sorry. Bulaklak, thank you. Charlotte, yes, midnight snap. Happy birthday, mamaya. Yes, Podre. O, di kaya pa di bumoto. Citizenship. Okay lang, Abby. Soon. Jay, advance happy birthday. Thank you, Jay. Next question. What's your fear na hindi or ayaw mo itry at bakit? Kumanta mag-isa on stage. That's my fear. I don't wanna sing. I'm scared. I'm a chicken. Yeah, whenever I sing, nagka-panic attack. So I cannot. Anong nilulook forward mo for your birthday? Bumata, sana. Joke lang. Di ko alam. It's not special. It's just another day. Papasalamat lang sa nanay ko for bringing me into this world. And then the leader turns himself in also he can leak his story to the press. Yes. Do you believe in luck or hard work? And this causes Ross hard work. To finally let go during his Rose Garden speech and to become his own type of rage monster. Hard work talaga. Hard work will bring you places.
He debuted in Hulk Volume 2, number 1. He was created by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness, and for years, they kept...
What's your favorite way to relax and unwind? Thank you, Jing. I love you too.
clues about the Red Hulk's
Manood ng movies,
very different from any
maglaro ng wrestling,
intelligence, he used weapons, and overall had a
Um,
badass attitude. He could also absorb energy, just like we
Yun.
usually see in this movie.
travel,
The Red Hulk
kumain.
Ross, but the character had a slightly different origin. In the comics, Ross actually died.
Sino to si Who is AZ? Gusto ko tong question na to. Based on Addy's question, kailan ka mag-aasawa or plans ka pa ba in the future kung sakali man?
Yes, this Modok.
Kung kailan niyo akong papayagan. Hindi, joke. Hindi, kung kailan kumahanap yung wife ko.
The mystery was a lot of fun until the truth was finally revealed in the crossover World War Hulks. Now,
Kahit reveal.
notice he burns the carbon.
Bakit naman?
In the comics, the Red Hulk is radioactive and actually he fights the U.S. military by waving around an American flag, which is not the most subtle.
Andito na ba wife ko? Hi,
That's
wife.
the Washington Monument, and man, they just finished rebuilding the elevator after Spider-Man broke it in Homecoming. We see that Sam's new wings can fire darts, like Archangel's metal wings in the comics, and
What is your go-to song?
his new suit takes the star emblem from Steve's Winter
Ngayon or all time?
and stripes on his abs, and his new wings have a hexagonal mesh that is the same pattern we saw in Black Panther's successor. I should note that the reason
Go-to song ko is No Blueberries by DPREN.
kinetic energy
I love no blueberries in my ice cream cake.
completely
Basta yun? Hanap mo ako. Tawa ako dito.
classic sonic clap, and man, people will never learn that
Ganito, laro tayo. Mag-drop kayo ng joke. Comment kayo ng joke. Dapat matawa ako.
skin, and then he sends them the Red Wing drones to go
Okay.
after his eyes.
Kung sinong magpatawa,
Red Hulk was once
cute.
captured in the comics. So the fight ends up at the cherry blossoms in DC, and there is so much meaning packed into these trees. Japan gave these trees to the United States in
commercial muna tayo. Mamaya na question. Mag-joke muna tayo.
symbol of friendship
Joke,
and
joke.
reconciliation.
Uy.
You even see a single
Sabi nga kayo ng joke.
flowers earlier in the film. Cherry blossoms symbolize
Isa. Ako, isa akong joke eh.
for a short while. So
No, you're not a joke. You're special.
yeah. So Ross talks about how he and Betty used to see the cherry blossoms when she was a child. So these
What do cows tell when they're stuck in traffic?
like when he felt
Moo.
like he was a good dad. But that moment in time turned out to be a fleeting period.
Lame.
His life
You lame, bro.
obsession with his military career.
Mga piloso po ng mga batang. Oh! Oh! Okay, may galaxy na tayo. Thank you, Honey Pimela. Sarang kayo.
He's literally destroying the best part of his past.
Wow!
Red Hulk
Thank you, My0501.
this memory. He's
Thank
able to
you.
finally
We have 16 minutes left.
himself to authorities. Now, when he comes to, Sam does
Grabe si Honey.
the hey big guy, the sun's getting really low. That we saw
Okay.
in Voltron.
Thank you, Honey. Honey Pimela.
Superpowered people that we
O, apat na galaxy pa, dali.
and like they say in the movie,
Realms of Immortals, hello po. Hello, hello.
in this space, Ross had Sam prisoner for 5
Which is faster, hot or cold?
And also, I should note, Baron Zemo is currently being held here, as Io said in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We would take
Anong pinakamalaking calcium?
fills us in on everything that's
Di ko alam.
happening. Ross gave up his office, but his legacy is cemented. The Ozaki
Ba't hindi siya pinayagan kumain ng hapunan sa baunan? Kasi lunchbox yun.
among the nations of the world. So I feel like this will probably be the last time we see Ross
Okay.
in the MCU, at least before the franchise is rebooted after Secret Wars. And somehow, in the background of all of these movies, we saw this secondary villain get a
Araneta calcium? Ano yun?
his daughter reconciling with him. And then
Hindi ako natawa. Araneta calcium? What the? Ano mangyayari sa pabango pag hinuli siya ng polis? Makokolone siya.
Hey guys, don't worry. We are going to follow up with a video speculating the lineup of the
Ah.
Avengers team and how this post-credit sets up the Avengers Doomsday. We also
Ano na to? Na katilalamunan ko.
right now in that post-credit scene.
Sino talented? C13.
knowledge of the multiverse.
Ah.
That starts with know the
So we're
multiverse.
doing this, huh?
As we see in this movie, he predicts the future by calculating probabilities, and the multiverse is essentially created by different probabilities. This is how Stephen Strange was able to
Anong tawag sa soap ang sinasabi na magtotropa?
So, we have a lot
Paano gumawa ng egg roll? Itulak mo. Thank you, Justin! Soap, bro. Okay. Okay. Anong puno hindi mo maakyat? Inakatumba. Why did the frog take the bus to work? Why?
What? What?
I wish masisikat pa yung vision. Thank you, Bo. Why did the blind man fell into the well? Because they didn't see it?
The past doesn't go away, so you can either live with it forever.
Because they can't see?
Think about it.
Ang tawag sa pusang nasa gitna ng kalsada, di ba tapang?
And this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed in the Thunderbolts. Now, before we get
Sino
rolling,
pinaka-close
I
mo
just
sa
have
vision?
to dance here
Lahat,
because
wala
this is
mo.
the best Marvel movie since Guardians 3. I am so excited for what this
Because you couldn't see that well.
Fantastic Four, Secret Wars, Vision Quest,
Daddy Mikey, what's up?
cinematic universe is finally on an upswing. As always, remember
Iba-block yung utak ko sa mga joke. Sana pala nagluto ako ng shoot. Anong luto
I
niyo
am
po?
so excited to show you guys these new Thunderbolt soccer team shirts sponsored by Shane.
Luto na lang kayo ng Galaxy. Drop Galaxy.
Different names
Yo.
on the back. Links are below. At the opening, the Marvel Studios logo now
I'm si Sumeji.
of the century.
Video shoot.
This image is slowly
Pwede naman. Bukas agad, ano? Tara. Joke lang.
Now,
Hi, Mega. What's up?
celebrate the century's adaptation.
Magluluto ka ba ng pasta mo? Hindi po.
Huge fan of the character's original run with comics. He was trained with Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee as kind of Marvel's
Mama mo? Ay, mama ko na.
stars as an ordinary guy.
Mikey, anong oras? Any? Legit ba?
Then he gradually
Huwag na nakaya.
was a superhero, the greatest hero on Earth, but somehow everybody forgot him. So the series is actually about him gradually remembering his past and reminding other heroes that he's trying to get more powerful.
Sarap? Sarap na ito.
The Void returns. So the comic
Nakaya.
is the Void.
Well, sige tayo. Sige po.
That's why I didn't want to spoil it in our early trailer.
Lapit naman 12.
They also did this cool thing where Wizard Magazine ran an article claiming that the Sentry was originally created by Stan Lee, but then everybody just kind of forgot about the
Okay,
character.
sir, for you. Galaxy na lang drop, guys, sa tawa yan. Oo, tama.
So the comic ends with the Sentry.
O kaya Meteor Shower. Mas tatawa.
Hero to remove the threat of the Void. Basically what happens in this movie, but I highly
12
recommend
minutes.
the comic if you've never read it. So we
Same B-Day. Son, happy birthday, son.
tallest building in the world, Merdeka 118 in Malaysia. And Florence Pugh actually jumped off this building.
Age reveal na. Bakit ba?
Kevin Feige directly for
Natanda na ako. Okay na.
Now, I think this movie does a pretty great job with its exposition, explaining everybody's backstory.
Bakit maswerte ang kalendaryo kasi marami siyang kadate?
And even though we
Bakit naman hindi maswerte ang kalendaryo? Kasi bilang na araw niya. Thank you, Franchet, sa pandesal.
Belova was the spy sister of Natasha Romanoff, and in the Black Widow movie, they took down
Jerry Mikey.
program that a brainwash.
Ito, I will reply.
Reached an emotional catharsis for Natasha's
Oh,
death.
yeah.
As we see here, she's still feeling listless. Just
Ay, di pa pala
that
nag-message.
line, the voice,
Jerry Mikey, where you at?
setting up the theme of the
Are you
movie.
tall? No, I'm small.
No way. They all have this void inside themselves because the movie is actually a metaphor for dealing with depression and trauma. You'll notice even the color palette of the movie is very desaturated, almost until it's black and white.
Yes, I do talaga daw. Oh, nanap ko na ba wife ko?
And everything becomes bright and saturated. And she
My
also
birthday was 8. I was celebrating for me and you. I took your photo cards. Wow.
says, this is the
Thank you.
depression. You feel like there's something wrong with you, something broken.
Thank you, Honey Pimela.
As a result, you feel like you're unworthy of love or a family. So, as we talk
Huwag ka
about
maniwala sa swerte. Dahil marasip. Malas agad.
this prepares them for their newfound family.
Alam niyo anong swerte kapag may
Seems like she could be taking her own life before the parachute opens. And
meteor
she
shower,
does.
Galaxy.
And this line sets up the opening fight. See, everything about this sequence is kind of typical. We've seen a million Marvel hallway fights, so this one is
Q&A
filmed
pa?
from above, mostly in silhouettes. And you can also say that there's something meta going on here. Marvel has been in a little bit of a slump lately, and fans aren't actually showing up for every single movie because
Tala.
they feel like they know what to expect.
Welcome to the MCU, by the way. You're joining it a bit low.
So when the movie starts, Elena's bored, we're bored, this all feels very 9 to 5. And then it turns out that she's actually narrating to her hostage. Now we have seen this before.
What's a movie you can rewatch over and over again by A-Lint 8?
Talking to other characters. Ford is talking to children in Love and Thunder. Thor was talking to Surtur, and in Iron Man 3, Tony
Pag
narrated.
meteor shower daw sila sa isang time mo. Talaga ba? Huwag niyo akong paasahin. Iyak ako. Iyak ako. Movie that I can rewatch over and over again would be Spirited Away. Kaya sobrang comforting niya lang whenever I watch it. Parang it takes me to their world. Their fiction world. Wala, parang gusto kong tumira sa ganun. Parang stress-free, though stress na stress si Chihiro kay Yubaba.
my jaw, and I used to nervous
Pero,
eat all the
yeah,
time.
I love that
I'm sure you
movie.
guys have your own bad oral fixation habits that you'd like to change. Now, I used to
Such a
think
good
that it was
movie.
impossible
Yes,
to
I
quit
love
all
it.
those bad habits.
Actually, any Studio Ghibli
I couldn't
movies.
just quit, I had to replace. That's
Post
where
ulit?
Vxon comes in. No vapor, no nicotine, just natural flavored air that actually satisfies. No stress, no withdrawal, just a simple swap.
Skirt,
Guys,
skirt.
Vxon is an award-winning flavored air device that draws flavor into your mouth and not into your lungs. It is a great way to satisfy my oral fixation habit with non-toxic flavors, and it is
Pag may nag-send ng
I wanna show you
Meet
guys
Your
this.
Shower, may
So
papakita
simple.
akong
This does not need batteries, and you don't have to charge it.
unreleased picture na feel ko magugustuhan nyo talaga. So,
Or my favorite, orange vanilla. It tastes like
kung ako sa inyo,
one of my favorites from
may Meet Your Shower na.
Also, it looks cool. I love how it's weighted. I love the wood design, and it feels just
Surprise to.
in your hand. And it's also
Special.
a tool that makes this incredibly.
What are you most afraid of? EPs. By the way, secret lang natin yun. Anong secret? Anong secret? Anong sinabi mo, Fangirl Vision? Hindi ko na-catch. Hi, Nico. Huwag na kayong manood. Hindi, wag. Ipis dito. Hindi ko alam.
Yeah, he's depressed.
Good night, Micah. What happened, Bella? Pag nag-send ng Meet Your Shower, i-reveal mo yung crush ko. Sige. Fangirl Vision. Oo naman.
Now, back to what I was saying. And then
Sa likod
Elena
may
finds a
ipis.
guinea pig in a maze. And this is some clever
Vision will perform sa Hal UPS this coming May 17. So, if wala kayong gagawin ng May 17, puntahan nyo kami. Sino may birthday? Ikaw yata may birthday. Thank you, Angel. See you Saturday. 7 minutes na lang. Yes. Wow.
He said that the shadows were meant to be symbolic of
Copy sa Wi-Fi. Legit ba? Seryoso ka ba?
Well, when the atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the blast was so intense that it burned shadows
Yeah, I hate
and
ipis.
burned their bodies to ash. You see, the powers of the
Pwede
century
lang bariling yung ipis.
Val was to create the
Sa
century,
isa.
but she really didn't know what she had created, just like American
I need all the
scientists
details for the event.
bombs and then
It's happening on May 17 at the old alumni building in UP Diliman.
Ross even compared heroes to nukes in Civil War.
Finest placed a couple of 30 megatons.
Send na kayo Meet Your Shower, dali. Ito na yung picture,
Then
naka-ready
we go
na.
to Capitol Hill for the impeachment of La Contessa
See what
Valentina.
I have question. What's that question? Let's go. Give idea, ipis. Bato ko yan.
She is a spy and often a love interest of Nick Fury. In the MCU, we see her
Ganito mangyayari. Kunwari, ito yung ipis.
and John Walker.
Tapos pag nabukas na ano. Ay, joke.
Wakanda Forever is the director of the CIA and the ex-wife of one Everett Ross. So Congress is trying
Post ka
to
3 times, baby.
a
Wow.
superhero off the books, which is interesting. So I always assumed that she was hiring Yelena and Walker on behalf of the government, but she was actually hiring them.
What's your girl type?
A corporation that she
Loyal.
divested from. Now, in the comics, Ox is a corporation founded by a life.
Dati gusto ko diba short hair, ganyan. Pero
Basically a robot duplicate like we saw
basta
in
loyal.
Shield. The organization
I'll
did
take care
first
of you.
appear in Thunderbolts Volume 5, Number 1. And it was
Skin and
essentially a
keratin go?
company. In fact, that issue
Wala.
starts with Bucky hunting down
Magilamos.
The representative holding the hearing is Leonard Gary, played by Wendell Pierce. Now,
Loyal
you can
naman si
get
Jeng.
that
Uy, Jeng, loyal ka daw.
Joe's.
and this number, he's also
Ulit sobrang
very
bilis
wise
mong
in
post.
Superman. Now, Leonard Gary in the comics is actually a mutant. In one issue, when Hydra attacks the Capitol building, he brings statues
What's your plan bukas?
to
Wala.
fight their Nazi robots. So I wonder if
Mag-jogging, mag-gym.
about the movie's reveal because he first appeared.
I
in the
prefer
comics
faithful
in
but
Avengers,
loyal.
and
Yes,
then
amen.
An Avengers movie. During Val's hearing, she mentions rogue nations, and she's talking about Wakanda. And remember, in Wakanda Forever, she was pressuring the president to create regime change and seize the country's vibranium for the United
Smile
States.
post
Now
po.
we know that was probably so she could use vibranium to create her
Parang anak,
own
smile.
military force. And she also mentions that just a few months
Thank you,
ago,
AJ.
the president turned into a red Hulk and ranged on top of the White House, referring, of course, to Captain
5
America.
minutes na lang, oo nga, no?
And she also makes
Pwede
it point
mag-hi.
out that there are
Bawal.
no Avengers. Following Avengers
Hindi.
Endgame, I guess no superheroes.
Mag-hi ka. Are you afraid of
Together
centipedes?
again.
Yes,
Still,
I
a great
am.
new world with Sam finally
Any
on
insect.
to start the super team.
The world needs the Avengers.
Val also says that the onus of the American government is to shield the people.
Actually, anong gagawin ko sa birthday ko bukas? Papagupit.
After Shield fell in the Winter soldier, superheroes have essentially been the world's main superpower. So
Mamansin ka? Hindi.
saying that the government needs to get in the shielding business by controlling superheroes. Now afterwards, she tells Mel that she wants to get rid of any hanging chads.
Hindi, papabuzz fade ako o kaya gupit binata.
To the recounting of the 2000 election in Florida, when the integrity of a ballot was based on how many
Yeah.
hanging chads.
Kasi may appointment na ako eh. May appointment na ako sa barbero. Bukas. Check ko nga. Gupit 20. Gupit 20 daw ako bukas. Okay. Okay, nakaset na. Gupit 20. Oo nga, crew cut. Ewan, todo pag narinig yung crew cut. Kasi yung gupit dati sa school yan. Anong gupit mo kayo? Yung crew cut nga po. Pero my favorite haircut before, 2 block. Yan, meron kasi yung Korean salon na pinapagupitan sa Evergotesco. Pagupit kayo doon, it's Brian's Hair Cafe. So, kaya ako doon since 2013. 2013 ba? 2014, 15, parang ganun. And si Brian, na nakasuki. Tapos, kung ginugupitan niya ako ng 2 block. Ganda. Ang gaganunin mo lang yun, ganyan. Tapos maganda, tapos bibili ako ng bench na, what do you call this? Thank you, Eros. Bibili ako ng bench, yung clay dough. Tapos gaganon ako, ayan. Tapos, papapogi na ako sa mga chicks, sa mga girls before. Ayun. Elena ends up being the bright light that can face off against the void. We also see a photo of Elena. Feeling ko pag naka 2 block hairstyle ako, parang confidence. Yeah. Thank you, Eros. And I know that we're also all so excited for the Fantastic Four. So we designed this thing shirt at our merch store in the style of John. 2 minutes ako nga. Ano ang 2 block? Oo, gaganunin mo lang 2 block. 2. Okay, 2 minutes to go! Happy birthday, thank you. Open na ba natin to? Ang ating cake. So, story, bago natin buksan to, dapat bibili ako ng Dairy Queen, yung Blizzard cake, kasi yun lagi kong binibili tuwing birthday ko. Ever since 2016. So, kada celebrate ko ng birthday, yun yung cake ko. Naging tradition ko na yun. Pero, dahil botohan ngayon, hindi ako mapag-book ng rider to buy it. So, yun, ending hindi ako nakabili. So, ginawa ko, bumili na lang ako. Todo, my favorite, cinnamon bun. And so, ito yung cake natin for today. Yes, sir. Wow! Oho! Mommy Ken! Thank you po, Ken. Galing, galing. Thank you po, Ken. Sarang he. That's you. So, ayan. Kain tayo. Wish mo na kunwari. I wish sana magkaroon ng hit song kaming Vision. Dumami pa yung mga Vixies namin. Magkakasama Vision and Vixies ang nandulo. And safe lahat ng loved ones ko. Alright, blow the cake. Alright, let's go! Kain tayo. God damn! Thank you, Honey Pamela. Wow! Grabe, Honey. Grabe si Honey. Oh! Thank you po, thank you. Ay, Kuya Paul, hello. Hello, Kuya Paul. Biglang dumami tayo dito, wow. Thank you po. Ay, first bite ng cake. First bite. Say kain na po. Dali. Crush reveal.
Finally,
Crush Civil ko, Vixis. Oh. Kain po.
But it turns out that this little girl survived, so her dad brainwashed her to become an assassin that copies everybody's moves. Actually, the
Meron din ako edit mo.
mind control in Black Widow is what
Thank you, Honey Pimela.
Natasha thought she was damned for killing this little girl, but then in the movie Black Widow, she's able to liberate her, so she can live her life how she chooses until she dies suddenly in this movie.
Yung peak.
There are lots of cool details during the fight, like we see Elena using her
Wait
witch
lang.
fingers, just like Natasha's.
Stay saglit, ilipat ko lang dito sa isang phone para makita
Instead,
nyo.
she hits Walker. Taskmaster and Walker.
Wait lang, wait lang. Okay. Wait lang. Okay, alis.
Always hinting that there's something dark under the
Ready?
surface. This haunted look in his
Well, di ba nare-release to? Pero secret na lang natin.
We see a silhouette on
May
the
mga
camera.
behind the scenes na naman na lumabas. So,
Eventual guilt as the void.
wag niyong ipopost, okay?
Dime store captain
Promise
Eric,
nyo?
he says,
Let me know it's actually.
Papakita ko lang saglit. Ready na ba kayo?
For like 2 seconds.
briefly,
You ready?
the government took away his Captain America.
Wala mo sa screenshot, malalagot ako dito.
That show ended with him getting a sort of redemption.
Bam.
Chasing down a group of terrorists called the Flag.
Okay, yun na yun. Thank you.
So, after he was disgraced, he wanted to kill their
Thank you po. Thank you sa mga nag-greet.
save people in
Saranghe.
Yeah, I don't know, Chris. That's a pretty big redemption arc. I agree, but John Walker in the comics is supposed to be like this. He's an a-hole.
Sige, thank you po. Thank you, thank you.
A lot of fun playing this role. And then we go to
Jellyfish, thank you po.
fundraiser where she is exploiting the memory of superheroes to make herself look
Nakatuwa naman na
shadowy her acting.
nagiging 100 na tayo dito sa live. Kasi hindi umabot ng 100 before. So, thank you very much for being here.
That's right. So at the gala, we can see various Avenger silhouettes on the walls. A clever way for her to avoid copyright infringement. But subtly, it's also indicating that these
Yeah.
crews are gone and somebody has to fill the void. The Avengers A in the lobby is half built.
Pag may nagsend ulit ng meteor shower,
Her new Avenger
I'll show again a different one.
Guardian of Good, the set, the center is Loki's scepter, minus the Mind Stone, was also
Grabe, first time yun.
vision. This is one of the Chitauri staffs, and Val calls attention to these Chitauri.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Nikki.
Aren't actually at the Battle of New York. They're an item in the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, and Bucky must have grabbed them because he used
Thank you,
them as
Nads.
ghost later on. And we also see the bust or
Yeah,
body
mercy
of
yan.
Chitauri in this case.
Sino? Yung pagkain or? Joke lang.
Damage control or Hydra after the Battle of New York. But as we saw in Spider-Man: Homecoming and the Great
Thank you, Dario.
47, some of these items are also scooped up by regular civilians. Now, Bucky talks to Representative Gary, and at first, he
Skirt,
just
skirt.
things like a covert operative would, like when he clocks the blind spot
Si
between
13 mag-asawa ka na. Teka lang, chill bro. Chill.
superhero and be a congressman. Do the required reading.
Hanap niyo muna oh.
And at his place, when he's doing the reading, he drops ketchup all over his
Thank you,
shirt.
10-10-10.
Now, I think this symbolizes
Wait, 10-10-10 what's up?
living this kind of official government lifestyle. And then we see that instead of washing his shirt, he washed his vibranium arm in the dishwasher. It's a great visual way to show how his extraordinary lifestyle
Magaling, Ella.
squeeze into these ordinary surroundings. Now, back at the facility, Walker points out the Taskmaster destroyed half of Budapest, referring to the events of the movie Black Widow. And then they all learn that they are about to die. Now, Yelena, in particular, seems to accept her fate, again showing us just how depressed and on the edge of taking her own life she is at this point. So they have to work
Thank you,
together.
Bella Bell.
Cannons are preventing ghosts from phasing, and these cannons are set
Isip ko nga magja-jogging ako bukas. Oh,
like
sheesh.
Army deployed against the Hulk and the Incredible Hulk. Now, Ava didn't get a lot to do in this movie, but she does get to prove her loyalty twice. She returns to help
Ma-
escape the fire. And
Uy,
then
bastos yan,
But
bastos.
this isn't surprising because she has survived her
Can you
whole
say I
life
love-
through the kindness of others.
Sujong. Uy,
Monster or the
naka-live ka ba,
angel.
Sujong?
Yelena flashes
Happy
back
birthday. Thank you,
to the
Sujong.
Red Room, and young Yelena is played by Violet McGraw from Megan. In Age of Ultron, we saw
Oh, no, live oh, eh?
sequences that showed us the character's worst fears and memories. For Natasha, we saw her complete her final test to kill a
Nope.
man, and then we saw glimpses of the
Okay,
history.
그럼 다음에 라이브 하자.
Graduation.
같이.
We've also seen glimpses of the Red Room training in shows like Agent Carter.
Biceps
This set
reveal.
is even more
Pag may
fascinating.
nag-meet your shower.
To lure her friend away from the house,
Pag may nag-meet your shower.
executed. Her
Dio.
probably to prove that she had no attachment
Annyeonghaseyo.
except for the assignment.
Sinong idol mo na gusto mo mapati ka?
Secret Service when agents are forced.
Ryujin from ITZY?
Well, never mind. This is the same same reason that they sterilized all the Black Widows, so their loyalty to their child wouldn't supersede their loyalty to the state. After she wakes up, we find out that Bob doesn't remember anything after he volunteered, and his amnesia is also adapted from the comics. But we also
Gusto lang mag-basketball. Late din ako mag-basketball kasi
split identity in the third act. And then you'll
puro
see Bob
skeds.
this little moment together where he says that he should be
Thank you, Mommy Ken. See you soon.
Find out later on, his parents told him that he was no good and he only makes things worse. Bob even repeats this out loud when they get to the top of the elevator later on. And this is when Bob names his alter ego, saying that he and Yelena both know the void. And her advice, shove it all down. Not a great plan. And then we come to their second team trial, escaping through a narrow elevator shaft.
Thank you,
I
8.
loved when Walker tried to use his super strength to go it alone, but fell.
Hindi pa ba kayo tutulog, guys?
So Bob is the one who brings the team together at the end of the movie, so it's fitting that he's the one who suggests how they can work together when they
Ni
meet
Charlene
up.
San
And
Pedro.
also the shapes of all their bodies look like the
What?
asterisk that appears at the end of the title. And Yelena says, and this made me laugh out loud because this is exactly what the internet said about
Parang mali itong ginagawa ko, no?
They all have very similar power sets.
Eating sweets.
Now, not only does Bob
Sabi ni Honey Pimiela, nasa na picture. Eh, pinakita ko na.
they're sent to him in his shame room that we see later on, but even the way he has to struggle to not sneeze is
Pag may nag-meteor shower ulit, papakita ko.
his mind at the end of the film. Now, when they escape the shaft, Walker touches Bob and gets a glimpse of his worst memory, and it's not when he murdered a man in
Do you
public.
plan on...
Captain America title. He
Huh? Do you
remembers
plan on getting pets or...
his wife was yelling at him.
I want
He
to,
did an article about
but
this.
I'm allergic to dogs and
Photo
cats.
that was taken from his announcement as Captain America at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 1. So for Walker, losing his career and his honor is
Gusto ko nga mag-aaso eh, pero hindi kaya talaga. Grabe allergy.
kind of like
Dumulobo mo nga ako, ang dami kong tugutog.
when he comes to, he's at the edge of the
Yeah, I'm
elevator
allergic to
shaft,
dogs, bro.
on the edge of the building at the start of the movie. Again, this is a metaphor for intense depression. Afterwards, Walker lists his official accomplishments and proof he should be the leader, and he follows up by saying that he won a three-peat of a state football championship. Go Bears! And remember, we actually saw his old locker room and his old high school in the second episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then Yelena brings up her team.
Oh, si Surin.
A bunch of losers
That's my
who
boy.
won a game, just like
Sobrang kulit nun nung under 19.
lost everything that they've ever loved in life. And then Bob brings up that he was a meth addict who dressed up as a chicken to twirl a sign, which is also similar to Meth Head Badger's job in Breaking Bad.
Wow.
See? Outside, we meet the Ox Commander Holt, played by Chris Bauer from The Wire and True Blood. Now, Val has ordered him to use
Mali talaga to, no?
Bob because she plans on
Sweets
being a nurturing figure.
before bed.
Meanwhile, Yelena has become an actual nurturing figure to Bob. Maybe
Oy, happy birthday din to you.
not protecting Anya.
Happy birthday din to you.
Bad
What the
guy
heck?
uniforms, a trick as old as the Wizard of Oz or Star Wars: A New Hope. But they're actually saved by Bob, who is willing to sacrifice his life for the greater good. We see the same attitude when he's a kid.
Natasha, Victor Cebu, I miss you din. Ingat sa work.
Tendencies that he and the other Thunderbolts display all throughout the movie. Afterwards, Bob goes through a resurrection similar to Thor or Beast, or because he likes himself to a god, he
Diba mag-sleep paralysis ka?
into the sky as a metaphor for
Kahapon,
the descent of Jesus.
I got-
love the way he flew over the air. It's very
I got an episode again. Nag-sleep paralysis ako kahapon. Pero hindi naman siya severe. Kasi nanonood ako ng wrestling, di ba? Nakatulog ako. Tapos sa dream ko, may nagbukas ng gripo dun sa banyo. Talaga narinig yung yung pagbukas, tapos tumutulo. So bigla ako na-realize na, shit, ay sorry, na mag-isa ako dito. Sabi ko, wala naman tao dito. So pinilit kong bumangon, pinilit kong gumising. Pero sa dream ko lang pala yun na nagising ako. Tapos sabi ko, shit, mag-isa nga pala ulit ako. So yung try kong gumalaw, di pa ako makagalaw. So talagang pinilit kong gumising. So nagising na ako. Tapos sabi ko, anong ganun nightmare na naman. Tapos, to make sure, sinek yung banyo pero wala naman. Hindi ko alam lately, puro ganun. Kasi sleep paralysis ako lately lagi.
Saying they're both a second coming of Captain America. And then he tells Yelena that she has assembled an impressive group, with the word assemble also hinting at the twist ending that these are the new Avengers. And there was like this little moment here when Alexi looks at her and says these people have made the light return to her eyes. Florence Pugh just kind of looks away and down and man, that Lord
And bakit kaya?
to the family.
No.
Now,
Always pray before you sleep. I do pray, pero I still,
Alexi said that their team can bring light to
you
the
know.
darkness, and they can appear on the Wheaties box, which of course we talked about in our Indian Explained video.
Thank you, Eros.
Convoy catches up to them.
Baka kasi lagi kang pagod. Ganun ba yun?
It was like she did an Ant-Man and the the Wasp, but the sonic cannon stopped her. Alexei makes a literal Molotov cocktail, but they are finally saved by Bucky. First, he blows up a Humvee using a modified FNMK-13 grenade.
Stress at pagod. Hi, Abby.
To the undercarriage. This is the same way he blew up
Eat every day. I do.
And when he steals one of their shotguns, his mid-air spinning
Thank you
coffin
po.
is directly from this sweet movie.
Coffin gets sleep paralysis. Lately, I've been having a lot. I don't know why. It's crazy. And tatlong galaxy po. Reach natin goal. Ano fave pastry mo? Ito. So, ano mga croissant, chocolate croissant, cheese croissant. I love cinnamon buns. Akala ko sinayana. Uy. Mga pangatlong comment na yun.
It was, for my money, the best episode of that season. And, just like this movie, that episode ends with the Red Guardian joining the Avengers. Meanwhile, Representative Gary is taking
Niana.
from WHIH, the Marvel Cinematic Universe's in-universe news station that used to produce really fun, internet-only segments leading up to movies like Captain America Civil War.
Love you, bro. Thank you, bro.
And it was Val. Now, you'll remember that this was originally built as Stark Tower, and then Tony converted
Ito si Doc Eros, bring me. Paano na makapag-bring me?
Ultron. They moved to an old shield facility.
Sige nga, sample.
Val has renamed it the Watchtower, which is an amazing full circle moment. You see, in the comics, the Avengers headquarters was
Sayang, ba't di ka nagpa-pick?
and the Sentry's headquarters was a skyscraper called the Watchtower. Now, the Avengers did not have a skyscraper headquarters until they
Sino po bias ko? Sa Adja?
and it became Avengers.
Lahat.
And now she has added this incredibly gaudy
Pero lagi kong binibiro si Ash.
Sentry's colors. But really,
Lagi ko siya na... Sorry.
mar the skyline of Manhattan. Now, while Val is trying to control Bob, she accidentally gets in touch with
Grabe, ganda pala feeling ng 16, no?
memory when her father was killed because she led his enemies to their home.
16 na ako ngayon.
This would motivate Val for the rest of her entire life. She felt small and powerless in this moment, so she'll spend the rest of her life seeking strength and power. And this is what she offers Bob.
Kahit sa gym, bro, pwede magpa-pick.
He is Earth's mightiest hero.
Bakit? Saan ba tayo ng gym pinupuntahan?
Name of the Avengers. Now, when Bob wakes up,
Yo,
he
30.
doesn't know where he is. And this is similar to Steve Rogers waking
Thank you,
up
V.
as the first Avenger.
Oh.
Now, we
Sige lang, go.
like this throughout this film because this team is a dark
Saan gym yan?
Avengers. Instead of having a person who is a soldier in World War II, 3 of the team members once fought for enemies of the United States, and the other was a Black Ops assassin. Also, Val is like the anti-Nick Fury. Fury believed in heroes, and he believed in giving them free will.
We get into a situation like this.
I'm both. Morning person and night owl.
But Val believes that there's just the bad guy and the worst guy. She has a kill switch.
Nami, hello. Kamusta? Kamusta na, Nami?
After Val talks to him, she's ready to pull away and give him time. But the comic accurate
Saan ka nga si Audrey? Sa bahay po.
has always been told for his entire life.
Kuya, may GF ka na daw po. Na I'm happy single. Sexy, free, and single.
So, just like in the comics, he sees being a
Ilang hours ang tulog mo? Depende.
self-worth. Meanwhile, Bucky counts
5, 6.
to bring them as evidence to the committee to force them to testify against Val. He doesn't even see them as people.
Send mo sa channel.
To present to the
Sige.
committee. Still trying to have it both ways.
Send ka ng Galaxy ulit. Para i-send ka. Uy.
After he lets them go,
Single era, yeah.
telling them to bury their past.
I'm happy single.
Elena suggests that
Kevin, sa Nevada ka pala pinanganak. Yes po. Las Vegas. My hometown. Eh lang, kain. Oh, ako bahala sa'yo, Honey Pimela. I got you, I got you. Muulo din sa inyo. Oo! Ayan. Anong longest distance na natakbo
What kind
mo?
of super serum did you get? I don't know, regular.
20 kilometers, I think.
Hydra. Oh,
And-
fancy.
Like Elena describes her weaponry. Now in this scene,
Sakit sa paa.
doesn't get
Grabe.
fired, which I don't think is true. We saw
Take
him
10 to, syempre,
out
10.
in Winter Soldier. Or maybe like he can just go full
Oh,
tilt
yeah,
when
10,
he's time to
daddy.
sleep and he doesn't wear down. Yeah, that's my secret person.
Kate. Uy, Kate, pinansin kita kanina, uy.
My favorite detail from the fight was that Bucky rips the door off its hinges to use it as a shield, just like Steve
Thank you,
did in
Penguin.
Avenger. Now, Steve doing that foreshadowed him eventually getting his Captain America shield, and Bucky was once Captain America in the comics.
Isang bite?
So maybe
Ah.
this is foreshadowing that Bucky will eventually get a shield of his own. And there's
Kuya,
some
bait mo po.
cameo
Bakit
here in
di
the
Paano mo nasabi mabait ako?
So the team enters the penthouse together in the elevator. And this is the mirror opposite of the event.
Any plans today?
Get into the elevator.
Just
This
sleep.
game, They were going down. But the Thunderbolts
Hi, Blue. Happy birthday. Thank you.
While the other is entering. And Val reminisces
Oo, upuan din,
about all
upuan.
the fights that happened here, specifically the fight against Loki and the fight against Ultron and whatever other battles happened between movies.
Taiti ko, di mo pa nakuha. Di
Di
pa.
Val is making herself a drink.
Paano ko ba makukuha yung Taiti?
Drink when he stood off with Loki. And you.
You've managed to piss
Dalawang galaxy na lang, guys.
Not a great plan.
And, like Tony Stark, she's able to systematically tear down everybody in the room. She mocks Shelena for wanting a forward-facing role, calls Walker into JV.
Thank you, and
Bucky for being an inept congressman. Yeah, well, he'd fit right in with the bunch of knuckleheads we got in there right now. Am I right, comment section?
Someone answer. Now!
Yeah, but again, we're seeing Val as the inverse here.
thank you, Yaya.
Time at the bar to talk up the team.
The Avengers. That's what we call ourselves. Sort of like the team. Earth's mightiest heroes.
While Val is tearing them down in a very Tony Stark way. For instance, she looks at Red Guardian and says,
Who's this old Santa?
similar to Tony saying this.
Sana lumusod yung food. Pwede na tuloy pa games mo. Natuloy yung games ko kanina. Sabi ko patawanin ako. Hindi naman ako natawa.
Void is a dark mirror to the center. And then Bob enters in his full Sentry costume and he looks great. Comic accurate, just silly enough, and Louis Pullman immediately gives the Sentry this kind of detached air. Like he's watching
sarap.
himself do and say things from across the room. We're all
May mga film kami, yung mga content for the past week. And I'm sure magugustuhan nyo.
Like Neo in the Matrix. And remember, Neo did this after he was resurrected with his own
Kaya
powers
abangan nyo.
as the One. And
Abangan
this
nyo.
year, we're seeing Bob fully unlock his powers for the first time. And in the scene, we do see the team start to work together.
Babayas mo sa Vision. Yung pinakamatanda doon, sino kaya doon?
Stop them with his shield. And then afterwards,
Sa pinakamatanda doon yun yung bias.
back like a taco. Then the ghost tries to ambush Sentry, and notice how he is even able to see her as she faces around him. Like his senses can even detect movements through the quantum realm. Is that how her powers work? No one knows. During the fight, Bucky is knocked down and gets his very own I can do this all day kind of moment. And then he does the leaping punch that he used against
Doon ka, DC.
Soldier.
Sige.
Bob just attaches his arm like Io did in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Pag may galaxy, doon ka. Lahat may condition eh, no? Bastos eh.
Like Natasha has done many times over the years to take down more powerful enemies, and he barely notices. The point is, this is not an enemy the Thunderbolts can beat with their fists. Like the only Avenger that probably could have taken down Wanda Maximoff just by getting into his head. And I loved how afterwards everybody is just out of breath and worn out because, again, these are the opposite of the Avengers. These are
Christian
ordinary
Dirking
people, not
Thank you,
gods.
Aldrin.
Bob even tells Val,
Sinong bias sa Vixis?
"Why should I kill them?"
Good
Now,
question.
Aldrin
Sino nga ba?
has her meltdown where she talks about how they're all useless.
Story time about your collab with New Eden Horizon.
This is similar to Bruce Banner's
Chaotic.
team moment.
Pero masaya. Grabe, parang sabi ko, daming tao sa studio.
Everything in this movie is going to have a dark parallel to the first Avengers film. While above, in the penthouse, Bob reasons that, since he is more powerful than
It's your
Thor,
vision,
he
where na kaya?
must be a god. And Val should see this coming because his psych profile included grandeur.
Nasa
No,
baul na.
save Val's life. And by the way,
Hindi, like I said, may mga content kaming film, so
he's the person who coordinates all the
instead of waiting sa test revision, yun muna.
Meanwhile, down the street, Florence Pugh puts on a clinic, breaking down and telling her dad that she feels so alone. Then he reminds her that on her PB soccer team, she wanted to be the goalie because she knew everybody could rely on her. She's always been a
Thank you, Alice.
somebody who can see the best and
Bianca, hello.
and more importantly,
Fahilan, Micah, hello. Thank you sa gift, Bianca.
taking life to fight the darkness of depression. And she realizes this just in time because the Void wakes up and wreaks havoc in Midtown. Now, I should note that this is the same location where the Avengers first assembled, except they
Ikaw din na rin na, yung PLB eh.
42nd Street on the other side of the
Solid.
building, while the new Avengers are on the opposite side of the building beneath the overpass. It's a subtle way to indicate that these Avengers are different. They're a little more broken, and they're not the elite gods of
Hoy, Ace, kamusta?
a decade or so ago. But
Miss na namin, no? Thank you, Ace.
like there's a moment where Alexei flips
Some flying
into
keys.
the air, just like another super soldier, Steve Rogers flipped Natasha into the air. And it is just so
Bahas
nice.
ko sa Enhypen si
Saving lives again. It made the movie feel grounded.
Jong-won.
It had actual stakes. Now, when the Void first attacks, he destroys a crane, which rips through the golden edifice of the building, symbolically saying he's
Taylor.
gone and he's been place.
Do you listen to Taylor? Taylor Lautner?
Walker saving the
What
day,
happened, Vera?
everybody pitching in.
We're crying again.
He is not crushed. Like, these are not heroes that can just
I know.
around. They are
Vampire, right?
fighting against all
Vampire will
odds
fate to me.
survive for one more day.
Vampire will
And there's so
fate
many-
Although I go, yeah.
Bucky
What
stops
happened,
the bus,
Val?
and Alexei saves
Why are you
him.
crying
Like, the
again?
civilians
Taylor ship siguro, kuya.
Vampire, right?
Kala ko Taylor Lautner eh.
Vampire
always
will
flips her out of existence.
Oo, nakikinig ako ng Taylor. Sobrang crush ko si Taylor dati nung
Rather than ignore the
exam namin nung...
fact, enters the void.
What do you call this? Nung exam namin nung high school.
Young girl. And when she enters the
Di ba may folder yon?
opening scene,
Eh, sino dito nakaabot ng K-Zone?
step into
Alam mo ba yung K-Zone? Eh, may...
Mayor Fisk is gonna
Yung K-Zone na yon, may kasamang poster ni Taylor. So, ginawa ko,
million people to experience their worst.
poster na yun, dinikit ko sa exam folder. Para yun yung inspiration ko. So, habang binubuksan ko, nakikita ko si Taylor dito. Tapos,
The woods are actually a
exam.
and then the way she
Tapos kapag
represents that
hindi ko
wall, tilts into the next scene.
alam yung sagot,
Technique also used in the
syempre give up na ako. Sitingin na to kay Taylor.
memories.
Tapos biglang, oh shit, I know the answer na gano'n.
Time with Bob's mind, and Joel's
Parang ano nga ulit to?
different memories to prevent
Sitignan ko si Taylor.
Now, Anya drops a
Siya ang
book
sagot.
called
Okay.
Boyka. It is a Russian folk tale about a girl made out of snow. Now, this girl is both innocent and beautiful, but she is unable to love.
Parang napaghalata yung age siya. Dahil,
She does finally experience human emotions.
K-Zone. Sparkle Magazine, yeah. Yung mga K-pop,
Because this is
Sparkle Magazine. Sa 7-Eleven ko yun binibili before.
off from attachments to others because otherwise she was worried she would experience
Sagot sa true or false. True or false. What is blank is the blank blank of the branch of science? Answer. Taylor.
So this is teaching her the same lesson that young Bob learned. When she tries to do good,
Good night, Abby.
she'll suffer. Now outside they all
T for Taylor. Yes, sir.
like to have seen what goes in camp.
What's your love language? Touch.
About Ava's past. Or
Ano,
you could have seen
touch.
Walker reenacting the murder of the guy in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then maybe it
Kaya
was
ako na rin may nagsabi sa'yo na,
his actions. And then,
Hey,
much like
C13,
Little Sunshine,
I
Bob
love you.
finds a safe room to hide.
Tapos sagot
Now,
ko,
under the floorboard
touch,
below,
touch, 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 touch.
he's a bad person, always makes
Okay,
things worse
corny.
than others. But the other team members find him, and then they have to fight off the room
Kuya,
itself.
kain po kayo pero walang
This is
tinidor.
how escaping our traumas instead of dealing with them eventually will
Ah,
destroy us.
natatrip pala to
And I love
taong to
Bucky's
eh.
line here about how
Skinship or saying I love you? Mas skinship ako eh.
Again, Bucky worked through his shit in therapy, so he's
Kunwari,
actually the
nagsabi sa akin,
emotionally mature person in this group.
C13,
Then they have to briefly
I
fight
love
Bob,
you.
but he was a chick
Ah, ganun
before he
ba?
was signed. And did anybody else think this was a
Come here.
tongue-in-cheek reference to Peter? I think it's
Bastos. Ganito. Come here.
I'm sorry, this is expired.
You son of a...
Help. Sorry.
And finally, they end up at Bob's lowest point.
My bad.
The moment when his worst fears were confirmed. He is a monster who only hurts people. Now this, of course, is the same
Si Juan
lack of
SB19 bias.
sequence, and Bob
Lahat
sees
eh.
himself as
Pwede ba lahat?
Now, he looks so comic accurate. Like in the books, the Void is just a silhouette with eyes and a mouth.
Diyos ko daw,
The
Diyos ko.
opposite of the
Sorry.
golden guardian of good, the
Hindi ko
fast
na-filter eh.
And I love this moment. where
I just
Bob
came out, you know.
defeats his inner demon by punching it, but instead,
Sinubayas ko sa PBB.
yourself only makes the problem worse.
I like Charlie.
He slowly starts to be engulfed by the void. And, just like in the climax of Eternal Sunshine, the room falls apart.
I love
around him.
Charlie.
Bob insists that he is stronger than the void.
Hindi, pero pinaka-crush ko talaga si ano,
Being able to punch harder,
Kai.
or restrict being able to admit that you need
Pag
help.
mag-collab
China
kami ni
is the
Kai,
first person to break
game
free
over.
from trauma and embrace him. And a group hug saves the day.
I can die in peace.
Incredibly
Di joke.
refreshing. I don't need to see another sky beam or lasers shooting out of someone's hands or the cartoon.
Kaya ata may kita. Kita mo naman ako ngayon ah.
The Avengers could not have defeated the Void. Only people as sad and broken as the new Avengers could step in and actually relate to Bob. And then in the outside world, the shadow fades from New York and the city is fully saturated with color once again. Like notice now, like for the first time in the whole movie, there is a rich, vibrant color palette. And this is because our characters have all found purpose in their lives. And just like in the comics, Bob has no memory of anything that happened. And then Val baits them into walking through a curtain. She announces what the asterisk means. The new Avengers.
Skirt, skirt.
I'm so hyped about this. We finally got a new Avengers team. They're weird and they're different.
Ina B and si Juan collab again. Yes. Wait nyo lang, wait.
Now, the Avengers have revealed
Anong
their
pinapanood mo?
publicly like
Nanonood ako ng mga recap ng mga Marvel movies.
Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver.
Lately, yun yung
There
ginagawa
was
ko.
also when Tony introduced the new Avengers, or when Norman Osborn introduced his
Okay, Anna is here.
The MCU, Tony was
Everyone say hi to Anna.
the new Avenger in the press conference in Spider-Man Homecoming. It's also part of this idea that in this world, just like in our world, superheroes are
I
celebrities.
like your accent, kuya. Bay, gusto mo bang accent ko din eh? No? Anong accent kang sinasabi mo riyan? Ito ga? Eh, bagay ka sa aking inay.
Finally.
But then we see part of the
Antok
press
na ako.
backlash with headlines calling them the B-Vengers.
Hindi ako yung comment na
There were articles about how they were trying to make B-list.
when was the last time you went to a concert?
Heard around the world, Walker writing the shocker
Yeah,
videos
but-
like Slim Pickens at the end of Doctor Strangelove. Rosie the Riveter, but asking, can we do it? And we see the team as
I
Washington,
forgot.
the Delaware, and my favorite,
Jerome. Hi, Jerome.
30 Rock in the 1930s.
Antok ka na. Hindi nga ako yung comment nga. Yung comment nga ni Ilocano ka. Dili. Dili ako Ilocano. I am Batanggenyo. Ay, oo, Ilocano pala ako. My dad is Ilocano, so that makes me 1/4 Ilocano. Or half Ilocano, I don't know. Basta taga San Andres siya or St. Anthony ba yun? Thank you, Jerome.
But Val beat him to the punch. So Sam is now going to be starting his own
Hindi ka sure. Kasi I've never been.
financing and also Avengers Tower.
Umuulan blessing sa B-Day. Oo nga eh.
Still be going at the start of the movie.
Thank you, blessings.
The type of Civil War event that allows
Happy birthday, Dad. Thank you, Daddy Mikey.
But we were talking
Hindi ko pa nare-receive message mo, Daddy Mikey.
theories that we can
Magme-message po ba kayo or
with you guys. Well, what did you guys think of the movie? Let me know down in the comments
Skirt,
below, or
skirt.
hit me on Twitter, Blue Sky Threads, or are free to join Discord server. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Aaron.
wala na bang Q&A? Tanong lang kayo. Kala ko si Niana. Nakailang ano na yan. Kay Ayaten kasi yun. Ano ba yun? Iluto ko pa.
Thunderbolts! Can't call ourselves that. God,
Patigim naman ng luto, Jerry.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Crush, and let's talk about
Tagapagbantay ka ba
Wasn't
ng
it great?
mundo ngayon, Finn?
What did you think?
What?
I'm gonna ask some friends what they thought, but first, I want to tally up why I think
Mahilig ka ba sa manghang? Hindi eh. No, I hate spicy.
How this movie avoids all
Parang nag-crave ako sa pancit canton.
thinking over the past few years. Tell you why this makes me optimistic, probably for the first time, about Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. As always, remember, we are on all podcast platforms. Check out our merch store for new Marvel drops and become a member to get free stuff. And I am so excited to show you guys these new Thunderbolt soccer team.
Have you met Ryujin in person? Yes.
Even customize the team member with different names on the back. Now look, you guys know me. I'm actually pretty easy to please when it comes to superhero movies. I liked some of the movies that got panned. The Marvels obviously had been hacked to bits, but the cast were charming and there were kittens in it, so I thought it was fine. Quantumania was actually my favorite Ant-Man movie, but I also thought that Deadpool and Wolverine was dopey nostalgia bait with weak characters.
Yes.
Driving its story, and Thor: Love and Thunder hurts me every single time I think about it. But I didn't realize just how
Have you rolled for Naruto on Mobile Legends? Not yet.
saw a genuinely great, heartfelt, inventive film like The Thunderbolts.
Mhm.
So let's talk about how this movie corrected some of Marvel's biggest mistakes from the past few years. Now, first and most importantly, it's a team-up movie. The MCU was always fun because it gave us character-driven stories, you know, about
Thank you, Not-ish.
and then they would mash them all together and see what happens.
Thank you sa Manggan Fest.
We got to see people clash who just don't belong together. Yelena undercutting Walker,
Wait lang ah.
putting up with Red Guardian. It was so much fun. Now,
Maghanap lang
Marvel
nakakainin.
used to feel like an
Gutom
event.
ako.
You wanted to watch everything so you knew what was happening for the next Avengers movie. But since 2021, we haven't really had any team-ups. It's hard to know if I should find the time to watch She-Hulk or Moon Knight. Now, I don't think MCU fans mind homework. We just want to know what the homework is building towards. And when some of those projects are mid or outright bad, it's easier just to walk away from the franchise. But I also think that Marvel could have fixed a lot of these problems by timing their releases better. Like Ms. Marvel and WandaVision came out a year before the movies they were setting up, when ideally they would have been released like the month before. But this kind of thing is impossible to coordinate when the studio is trying to make a billion projects.
Oy, Brian. Naka-live ka ba? Thank you. Basket na tayo.
Into production before screenplays were ready. And that meant that the action came first.
Basket na, basket.
Second, but this movie
This week.
is character first. unlike, say, Deadpool and Wolverine, which was more about the fun team-up between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. Like, it's hard to pinpoint what Deadpool and Wolverine was actually about. Like, what was it saying?
Pagaling na
While
pili.
this movie
Sige,
is
sige.
very
Pagaling.
connects each character. It is about overcoming depression. You know,
Have you voted?
a void inside of us. Now, if you follow the
Hindi,
MCU,
I
you know the
didn't
trauma
vote.
that each of these characters has endured.
Agusan.
Ghost, tragic childhood, the rise and fall of John Wall.
Oy, Mumar. Thank you.
Take down the Red Room. And Bucky's issues have been
My
pretty
man,
well
thank you.
documented by this point.
Tara na, gala na.
Way past, I'm totally fine.
So it makes sense that these characters and not
Kuya Finn, wag po muna kayo mag-end live. Alis po muna ako. Balik din po. Okay? Di ba po marunong ako mag-speak ng Korean? Yes. Parang gusto ko bang prank ulit ah. Who's your favorite Marvel character? Captain America.
Pointed out, that movie is about proving yourself. But Sam kind of already did that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And Thunderbolt Ross had appeared in 5 Marvel movies before this, and I never got the impression he was trying to prove himself to anyone. The movie's
Anyong.
Okay, puno rin ba ako eh?
Oh no,
Anyong.
I'm so dead, what am I gonna do? Calm down, what happened? I didn't get my mother's
Hello.
I didn't know you had
Hello?
Do you speak English?
Check this
Ay,
out.
disconnect ako. Oh, wait.
Isn't that
Ayaw niya sa akin.
This is from Syndicate, the sponsor of this video. This one is called the Garden Box. And now let's open up this one. It's very pretty. It's got flowers on the outside. And that's awesome. See, guys, Syndicate is a unique, and I'm going to put it this way. Guys, Syndicate is a unique
Kaya, gusto ko man-trip.
experience, and it is the perfect gift for Mother's Day. And you can actually refill the bubbles in this thing whenever you want if you want to surprise people over and over like this. Wow, my wife is going to love that. And so will my mom. And my kids. Right? And what I love about
Sino pong bias sa BA6? Yung ano, yung Nage pussy. Yung Nage. Bias yung Nage doon. Magaling yun eh.
And these gifts are not just
Take it down dance, yeah.
a range of products perfect for any event. Birthdays, anniversaries, retirements, life day, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, but any mitzvahs.
Hindi ata live si What Happened eh.
Syndicate is both thoughtful
Na-live siya kanina eh, si What Happened.
It is so much fun and delicious. So, to send your
Para mag-search
Syndicate, use
dito.
our link in the description and use the code CRUSH10 to get 10% off your Syndicate today. It is a really fun gift. You won't regret this. Now, back to what I was saying. But while we're comparing this movie to Brave New World, that movie was really dragged down by its clunky exposition.
Anong name ni What Happened?
Resulted in the president's
Sa
alleged
tic-
estrangement from his daughter, Dr. Betty Ross.
Ah, hindi siya live.
Banner's ex-girlfriend. Why would
Sayang,
this
hindi siya live.
Somebody was randomly the girlfriend of Bruce Banner? Well, because
Zero base one, yes,
it's all
I do.
added in later for the audience because the initial audiences watched the movie and they were confused. Whereas in the Thunder,
Nakakamiss BA6 no, Nage.
the first time, so they're telling each other about themselves. It feels natural, it's fun, and it gives everyone a chance to rip on John Walker. That final reveal of what the asterisk means was so much fun. Knowing that these are the new Avengers made me excited for what's to come in the future. Like, I was so psyched to get teases for, like, Harry Styles as Star Fox or Brett Goldstein as Hercules, because I thought, oh, sweet, those side characters from the comics are getting A-list treatment. What's the plan? But
Monster X show no.
plan. Marvel post-credits teases have been setting up stories that probably won't get made
Ang
for
bad kasi
4 or 5
Taylor
years.
Swift.
But this
That's a
movie's
reach.
post-credits scene actually sets up the next movie, Fantastic Four First Steps. It feels like we're seeing Thor's hammer in Iron Man 2 or the twins in the Winter Soldier. It feels like Marvel has finally paused, they've gotten their breath, and they're being more deliberate about
Teka.
what they tease us.
I'm trying to follow.
Made with the screenplay written first, which is
No, I'm trying to invite people.
Most films, post-Avengers, start post-production before they even have a finished
May
script.
decline
For
ako.
instance, they knew the Red Room was going to fall from the sky before they knew why or how.
Hindi nag-decline.
Now, this isn't exactly unusual. I mean, the newer Mission Impossible movies also shoot their stunts before they have a screenplay. But Marvel has hit this problem where the scripts change so much that
Good
the
night, Joy.
artists
Matulog na.
can't keep up. Like, I've heard that Quantum Mania was a nightmare for the artists because the filmmakers kept changing the screenplay and they have to redo all of their work. But this movie isn't that visual effects heavy.
Wala mo nag-a-accept.
But otherwise, everything feels like
I'll just sleep.
grounded and done in camera with stunt work. And the screenplay of this film was funny and sentimental and efficient. See, it was co-written by Marvel veteran Eric Pearson, who gave us Ragnarok, Black Widow, and Godzilla vs. Kong. And the other co-writer was the great Joanna Kalo, showrunner of The Bear, there and the writer-producer of shows like Beef and BoJack Horseman. It seems like the studio got out of their way and let them cook. But I'm sure there's things to not like about this movie. Some characters get ignored or don't need to be in the movie at all. There's also very few set pieces, so maybe some people thought it was a little boring. Now, a little later, I'm going to tell you why this ending makes me excited for Avengers Doomsday. But
Ayaw.
let's find out what made
Wala.
me work with the movie from our panel. I am so happy to
Thank
be joined
you.
by the panel of panels. We
Anyari
have
na.
Fresh Editor-in-Chief Matt Singer,
Kumakain pa si Nian.
Manager Harry at Legal Enright, and Rachel Leishman of the Mary Sue.
Ano ka na ba ate? Ano bang work mo ni Pimela? Focus nga dyan.
Rachel, I saw your review up on the Mary Sue. You loved it too. But I want to start with Max.
Kasi play COD M. Nag-work ako kanina pa. Sorry sa istorbo.
I liked it. I don't know. Great. Okay, so Rachel.
Good night, fangirl.
All right, now Matt, elaborate, please. I really liked it. Next person. All right, you really liked it. Do you care to elaborate?
Parang tapos
further?
meeting ba?
I do think it's a fun movie. They did a
Ay, sorry na pindot.
good job. It is definitely one of the better Marvel movies we've had in a while. I don't know if I would say I loved it as close to a love. I think there are some things that I didn't love. I can definitely say
Thank
that.
you, Seven.
That I liked a lot. There were a couple of things that I was a little more mixed on.
Wish us luck. Thank you. Ay, thank you tuloy. Good luck, Sandra.
I think what's going to happen as a result of it is
Uy, ni Pimela, napakita ko na kanina.
excited about Marvel movies for the first time in a while, whereas the vibe that I've been getting lately is like, okay, I gotta go, almost like an obligation. I have to go see, there's a new one, I gotta go see it, I gotta go see what my Marvel pals are up to. I don't know if I want to, but
Di ako nakita awit.
at this point, I gotta go.
LA Night. Uy, I love LA Night.
And fun enough,
Thank you, Friendship.
kind of leads you,
Effort, thank you.
teases you in the direction of where they're headed next. That looks fun enough that people are gonna maybe be a little more excited the next time the next Marvel movie comes out.
Rachel, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, I have a Yelena Belova tattoo, so it's not a surprise that I really loved this movie.
Imagine you hated it. Imagine like you'd be one of those kids, those guys.
Thank you, IG Christian Martin.
Game of Thrones finale.
Before they did.
Oo nga, tutulog ko na lang to. Bukas ako magpa-prank. Walang nagkakasip sa akin.
the like human side of being a hero. It's why I like Iron Man 3 as much as I like it, just because we get to see these superheroes struggle. And it's why I love DC Comics. That's why I like Marvel a lot. Marvel allows its
Sila nag-accept.
to not be okay. And I really liked that this movie made it obvious that no one was okay in this movie. Not a single human, even the
RJ, good luck. Joke lang.
was still not
Great daw si RJ. Great si RJ. Great.
Because he went to
Okay.
therapy, and I really feel like
Pasenda mo sa channel. Hindi pwede isend sa channel yun dahil unreleased yun. So, I cannot.
Harry, what about you?
At mapapagalitan tayo.
Before we really get into the meat and break this baby down.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time since I walked out of a Marvel movie.
Thank you sa mga nag-greet. Sa mga birthday greet niyo. I love you all.
How I felt about this.
Sarang
I
he.
just was
From
smiling,
Canada. Hi, Mark.
laughing. It's not like everything has been a complete.
It is my first time.
It's like reminding me why I used to.
Saan ka ng Galaxy pa uli? Pakita ko sa'yo ngayon.
Heroes like saving friendship.
Yes, I collect Ryujin photo cards.
Stopping falling rubble and all.
Nawala kasi.
Once I missed that until I saw it again.
Yeah, and nary a laser shooting out of somebody's hand or anything like that. I've always said people like Hawkeye were some of my favorite characters because it's that thing where you need a normal person to swim in the
Yo.
Olympics.
NYC soon. I don't know. We'll see.
I do want to correct you on something though, Harry. I think the last time you said you were excited to go see a Marvel movie the second time was Madam Web, right?
Oh yes, sorry, that was the last one, but that was for very different reasons.
Yeah, that was the one where I think we saw the screening together, and then we were like, we had to take everything
Hi,
to
Hans.
see this because it's unconscionable how bad of a mistake.
We have a great po from Philippines. Hi, Philippines.
I don't blame you. This one, I'm just, and you pointed something out to me on the way out that it never occurred to me. You said that's the best female-led Marvel or superhero anything, and I was like, yeah, I didn't even notice it was female-led because they didn't feel like they had to make a big deal out of it being female-led. So, Rachel, did this meet your expectations for Yelena Belova since you're such a super fan?
Yeah, and it was very.
Yelena Belova.
Once again, after I saw the press screening, and then I'm going a third time with my friends to see this movie, but. It was funny because my old boss, Yelena did something and she got angry and she said she even gets mad like you.
Si Shay.
like how he would like fight with people.
Kanina pa yung
And I
Shay
was
na yun,
like,
di ba yun
okay,
nanonood?
like, I really do just feel kind of put out and seen in a movie because I love how it's kind of just like a sad person. Me and her
Kanina I
side of her, but it was also like a relatable kind of sad.
rewatched
Like, I'm just gonna
Doctor
sit
Strange and the
and
Multiverse of
really
Madness.
relax, at least when I go home.
Pag nag-send ng Galaxy, papakita mo ulit yung picture. Yes!
And so I love that the movie showed kind of her outward approach.
Ay, pinanood ko ulit Doctor Strange.
Like the way she kind of actually
Ganda.
was dealing with her sadness.
And yung Thunderbolts, 3 beses ko na siya pinanood sa sinehan.
But not. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you
Solid,
know,
diba?
One thing about that,
Oo, ang
right, it really, really
gustong-gusto kong Thunderbolts. I love Thunderbolts. I don't know why, but
I see him right
I love it.
And this is a person who hates herself, hates the world she lives in, like he's just depressed. And when he says that to her, Florence Pugh kind of turns to look away from
Film
her,
review.
and she gets this little glimmer of like not even a tear, but her face.
Huwag na, baka ma-spoil kayo eh.
And it hit me like I started.
Yan ang pinakamagandang moral of the story is, you're not alone, diba? All of us goes through shit,
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
pero
I mean, I think
there
something
are
I said
people
to
who
you
care
briefly
for
talking
us.
about it after the movie was just that, you know, it's a great performance. Period. Probably one of the 2 or 3 best performances in a Marvel movie. I mean, it's
Nandiyan ba si Angel? Mukha bang may tao dito? Isa nga ako
she's
dito.
in it. She's committed. You know,
I'm alone, bro.
But, you know, some people. I don't.
Is it
even
just me or kumukha mo si Song
But
Gun
we
Mi?
can all immediately.
It's just
think
you.
Who have shown up in these Marvel movies because
Ay, itong mga
maybe
conclave
you get a nice
memes.
Paycheck, maybe you know you get some. exposure
Don't get me
to
started with that.
Maybe you get a couple of paychecks because they sign these people
Bad
up
yan,
for
bad.
10 movies. You know, that's a good steady gig. Nice work if you can get it.
Mukha niyo
That's
po
not
siniyan.
the vibe you get from Florence Pugh in these movies and shows in general, but especially here in Thunderbolts. Like, she is it's such a rich and interesting character, and it's such a really like nuanced and subtle.
Iwan ko kaya itong live, tas tulog ako.
She's so sad. She's but also she's really funny. Like she's
Bad na natatawa ka or bad di ka
the
natutuwa?
driest.
Parehas.
Marvel actors, and she has that gift.
Tulog na
So
Finn,
many
no?
of the characters are
Pinabala ako mag-jogging mabukas eh.
and making jokes, and she has a way of doing it that it doesn't feel like she's.
Hindi ka ba sinasapak? Minsan nga nahihirapan ako
You
matulog.
actually feel very natural the way that she does.
Minsan
it.
gusto ko nang
She has a
umiyak
way of kind of
and
talking
sleep.
him off so dryly and kind of under her breath that it really
Thunderbolts!
just the right kind of tone and touch that you need. Whereas people, I feel like sometimes now they kind of have, again, because there are so many of these movies that they have sort of tricks and they do have sort of tropes that they repeat over and over again, and one of them is that kind of quippy style.
that undermines drama and tension is what Harry was telling me. That happens a lot too. It's pretty annoying.
Duty mo ba ngayon sa pagbabantay ng mundo?
It's sort of, it's kind of
Kaya tingin yung mundo ko eh, binabantayan ko kung may galaxy pang
that it really
babagsak.
kind of lightens what is
Diba?
otherwise could have been, you know, kind of a really dark and depressing
Kung si si what do you call this?
loss and loneliness.
Kung ang Celestials nagbabantay sa ng mga multiverse, mga galaxy, ako nagbabantay ng meteor shower, galaxy, gano'n. Angel, happy birthday.
Character, the main protagonist, and she carries the whole film. She does a great job.
One thing I really loved about her performance
Bakit
and
mag-send
everybody
ako
else's
ng
is
galaxy?
getting to see characters
Go!
from different corners of the MCU, some of which we haven't seen since, you know, the first Trump administration with in the case of Ghost. So getting to see them just together
Bye na si
and
1
getting
Good
to see
morning.
them
Bye.
interact in fun ways and the way that makes
Do you think na stubborn ka? Yes, I am stubborn.
digest. Like for instance, Harry at John
And
Paul, right? Somebody
most of the tourists that I know then,
came out almost 4 years ago. I would not blame anybody.
may
who did not
pick
remember
ba
who
pag
this guy was.
mag-send? Yes.
I don't think you, if I remember,
Yes.
you didn't really care for the
There
character
is.
at all. What were your thoughts on him, and especially
Pag naglagay ka ng goal sa live, meron no.
dress him down?
Yan.
Yeah,
Go.
I
Mukha mo
felt
sino yan.
a lot of conflicting feelings about the
I'll
fact
take that.
they called it a redemption at the end of Falcon and the
Cutie
Winter Soldier.
Akemi,
I
yes,
didn't
thank
feel
you
that
po.
the character had necessarily earned that, or that it was the most interesting way for his character to go. So I think this movie did a really good job of having him be like a member of this heroic.
I'm a Taurus too, I'm also stubborn.
While still emphasizing all of the ways in which he's like kind of an unlikable.
Yeah, most of the
person.
Tauruses are stubborn.
Well, because they're taking the piss out of
Thank you, Akemi.
you know.
And
Ano tingin mo worst zodiac sign?
Sometimes nothing better to make a character
Um,
really shouldn't be endearing to the audience.
I don't know. I don't
Make
judge.
them hate themselves as much as you hate them. And I think that
Siguro,
you did
ano?
really well with John Walker. With the like Yelena saying she doesn't even need
Um,
to like she doesn't even need to dress him down because he already knows how much of
Cancer and
like,
Saji.
That was like okay, like that. I can get behind this version of this character.
Now, Rachel, we're all Marvel people, right, Matt?
Oh, I may nag-react. Sorry. May mga Saji ba dito in Cancer?
We all like digest these movies and cover them and write articles about them and things. One thing that just really impressed me about this film is how it does take the past of the Marvel Universe, but then it actually sets up something that I care about.
Opo ako. Sorry.
Yeah. Right? So what did
Aries? Ano nga ulit ang Aries?
next step for the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Well, I think as a next step, it's
Educate
definitely,
me.
we don't have to have the same Avengers that we've always had. One of my favorite parts about this movie is that
I'm Saji,
their
sorry.
fight is in the same place that the fight is in Avengers.
Though medyo nakalimutan ko na kasi mga ano eh.
Kind of a
Zodiac sign.
that, like, we can't
Pero ang alam kong Gemini.
and
Yeah,
different
but
actors.
underneath though, which is really cool.
50-50 ako sa Gemini.
Pass on the other side of the building.
Yeah.
Minsan sobrang kasundo ko, minsan sobrang kaaway ko.
Showing like, hey, we can keep moving forward and we don't have to go back. Which I know.
Kasi di ba Gemini is two-faced?
People, but I do.
Tapos kapag dalawang Gemini nagka-clash.
Shows that like, hey, we can make good
Ang Leo, matatapang.
make them team up that feel like Avengers movies and it can be fun.
So kapag may Leo akong kaibigan or
Where's the Jeremy Renner?
kasama, iintindi ko na lang.
I'll tell you where he is.
Yeah, that's true.
Kesa patulan ko pagiging aggressive nila. So,
Every Marvel and well, Brenner's not edge on there.
Yeah,
Well,
Renner,
while we
but
park
Renner
outside of his house on this.
Capricorn. I think lola ko Capricorn, so I love
showing us that like we can move
Capricorns.
forward and we don't have to keep going back to the same characters and the same actors over and over again.
Ay, joke. Ano ba ang Capricorn ulit?
It's a hot minute to figure out how we can move
I forgot if lola ko is Cancer or Capricorn. Alam ko Capricorn
This
siya.
movie was a good combination of the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. People who don't belong together, who find themselves together because being together gives them.
See you sa Mangan Festival. Teka, I'll research on Zodiacs
We
again.
had tons of theories on what it could be, but the way it was executed, I thought was just perfect and a great surprise. What was it about this movie? And this is for anybody. What was it about this movie that surprised you guys?
Libra.
Nothing.
Hindi pa nakaka-encounter ng Libra. Masyado.
No one said anything.
Zodiac sign traits. Wait, let me research on that.
The part of the movie that didn't really work for me, and it's a character that I've enjoyed in the past, is Bucky, actually. I'm not sure.
Okay, so mga fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagi, known for their passion, energy, enthusiasm, and courage.
The least kind of. He was the puzzle.
Specific sign traits, Aries, they're bold, fearless, competitive, and impatient. Taurus, loyal, yep. I'm loyal. Stubborn. I'm stubborn. Practical, yes, yun ang pinaka-trait ko. And sensual.
Against Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, but then at a certain
That's me.
point he kind of just throws up his hand.
Gemini, versatile, adaptable, witty, and communicative. Yes, ganyan kasi mga ate ko. Dalawa kong ate is Gemini. So, kuha nila lahat yan. Cancer is emphatic, nurturing, emotional, and protective. When ulit ang Gemini? I know, ang Cancer.
Elements of
This, when ulit sila?
subplot are totally lost. Maybe they were shot and deleted. Maybe they were revised and kind of, I don't know. But that whole aspect
Hello?
is kind of superfluous and weird and doesn't make any sense. And ultimately, like,
When ulit
yeah,
ang
I'm a special fan and
Cancer?
I see him
Anong
in pretty
month?
much any one of these movies. He's, it's kind of funny that he's now kind of the veteran. I mean, I guess he's always been 100 years
Oy,
old.
Maria, tara.
Why not have him be
Katrina, hello. June to July. Oy,
As we were talking, I think, earlier, like, all the other characters are so screwed up.
June
And
to
yes,
July.
he has his own trauma.
okay.
and mental
Wala ata akong
issues,
kilala masyado.
But he's like so far
Kala ko si Nian.
he gets
O, follow niyo na ako dahil kala niyo ako si Nian. Dali.
kind of tells these
Leo, confident, generous, creative, and charismatic.
There's a, that's certainly a
Yeah.
service to
I can agree.
But it also is like he's just so kind of above it all, you know, like he's almost like Zen. He's so
Virgo, analytical, perfectionist, detail-oriented, and practical.
The amount of transition opportunities I've had for ads in this video is killing me. But he has
Long Virgo.
his art isn't as well defined as the
Thank you, Joy.
but also it'd be kind of
Libra, balance, fair, diplomatic, and social.
Yes, and my
Okay.
point is I'm glad Bucky will get there. I'm so glad.
Scorpio, intense, passionate, resourceful, and mysterious.
You put in the work. You did the work, jeez. You're not even the Winter Soldier.
Sagi, spontaneous, adventurous, optimistic, and philosophical.
I'm glad he's doing well, but my point is, it's like, what is
Okay.
his purpose in the movie beyond to give that like
Capricorn, responsible, ambitious, disciplined, and
you can
practical.
either, wallow in your past, or you can
Okay.
try to redeem yourself.
Aquarius, independent, innovative, visionary, and
It does
humanitarian.
feel like they were like, well,
Wala akong sinabing I don't like Aquarius.
really
I like
remember
them.
and like, who do we got
Pisces,
on the contract? Oh, Sebastian Stan.
dreamy, intuitive,
You want to be in this movie
intuitive,
and have a
passionate,
couple
and
scenes
artistic.
be a congressman for some reason. He was just the one part.
Okay.
That, again, with Florence Pugh and all these other Thunderbolts, there's a really kind of coherent
Ayoko ng Sagi, ayoko ng Cancer.
screw-ups, and they're so messy.
Tapos.
And they work together really well. And they're all kind of vibing together. And I just didn't think Bucky really fit in there in quite the same. I did like how they have set up this, who knows where it's going to go.
Saan ko bet na Zodiac?
Confrontation between the two fledgling
Based sa mga specific traits that I've seen,
and their little frenemy relationship.
ayoko pala sa Aries kasi impatient sila. So,
Avengers Doomsday at all. It seems like that movie's going to have to hit the ground running as soon as possible. It's got the X-Men and all this other stuff. But, Rachel and Harry, what was it about the movie that maybe didn't work for you?
I think I can deal with Pisces,
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Rachel, that's a really good point.
Just that Alpine is.
Aquarius. I can deal with Aquarius.
I guess my
Capricorn. I love
which I'm not
Capricorn.
wrong, is that like Ghost didn't have enough to do, and I loved her. I thought he had.
Ayoko ng Scorpio. Ayoko ng Sagi.
That I wish,
Gemini depende.
and I know, like I love that it's.
I love Taurus.
but
Kasi
it's
Taurus
also,
ako.
Like we spent so much time with these dudes, and then the only other woman who's in these scenes.
Anong tanong niya sa
She
broadcast
kind
ko?
of gets to have her moments and her one-offs and like remind you who she is by being like, I'm in this suit because my body will disintegrate, but did it in such a good way that it didn't feel
Cancer.
like me that character's
Okay lang.
body will disintegrate if
Ay,
she's
no.
not in a suit.
No. I don't like.
I just wish she had more.
And I did wonder, what happened with
Sorry, Race. Gusto, syempre, joke lang yan. Gusto ko lahat ng ano.
What happened with Kang?
It doesn't, I mean, I don't
That being like,
really believe like 100% sa zodiac sign.
Jonathan Majors, no one goes back to the quantum realm anymore, so I'm stuck in this suit. Or maybe stabilizing Ken particles.
Pero sa tingin niya, anong bagay na sign sa akin? Anong compatible? Tingin mo? Tingin niya.
Yeah, that's true. Or maybe
Pwede po ba shoutout? Pwede.
at a certain point.
Kala ko si Niana nag-live. Ako po si
I
Niana.
do have to check before I hear what Harry didn't like about the movie. I do got to correct one thing though. Taskmaster is another woman who had
Taurus, huwag na lumayo. Okay.
a very clear beginning.
Capri and Aquarius.
All within 5 minutes.
Dracov's daughter that did not at all diminish that character's importance in the origin of Black Widow at all. How much
Leo,
so-
parang gusto ko ng matapang na...
Literally, I think she took more shots physically in the body than she had of her
Yeah.
in the film.
In two shots where you can see her face.
Gusto ko ng matapang.
Yeah, I think you're
It's
right.
one. Her face is one shot.
Parang mali na inubos ko tong ano,
It
cake.
says, I'm here for you, and then it goes
Damn.
right back on.
Oh yeah, they don't even show her when she's dead, do they?
No, it's just the
Ah.
mask. Through the
At
mask.
least they did have Yelena at least say, oh, she had a hard life. Albert's path was a strange and difficult one. There she is, and we move right on. And I wouldn't have minded that. You know, like Marvel always gets guffed for putting things in the trailers that aren't in, like the Hulk running and Infinity War and stuff like that.
Dito ako sa
I would've liked
independent.
a couple of fake scenes with Taskmaster.
Taurus and Virgo are generally considered a strong match. You're shared.
There are a couple. There are
Yeah.
like I was grabbing.
What is your MBTI? Ewan ko, basta introvert ako.
Oh, okay.
Still,
And then
Alright, I
INFJT,
missed that. I missed
parang something along that line.
Harry, what about you? Is there anything in the movie?
Yes, RJ, mag-move on ka na.
I kind of agree with
Jerome, hoy!
I would have liked to see.
Class na, Jerome! What's up?
I
I mean, she's not the only one.
안녕하세요.
Get because I think we only see like the flashbacks for Yelena.
May any chance assistant siya balik ka kanina or baka mukha? That's not me.
Yeah, good.
I think they could have.
Nasa gym lang ako kanina.
I think it was a really good one, and I really like the way that it
Ano ngayon ha?
together.
Thank you, Josefina. Hello, thank you.
Everything, so, but I understood that also they're not.
Wait lang, ano nga yung INFJ ulit?
I don't know how they would have done it, but
Well,
maybe we
and
could have seen them go into the void and see what happens there before they meet up with everybody else. But
that's what
we
I
could have seen.
Anong malakas ang tuition ng
like
INFJ?
that they must have shot.
Ay, intuition pala, sorry. Pero mataas tuition.
Right. It does feel like that's an absolute
Advocates. Yan, oo yan.
one flashback.
Josefina, thank you pa sa biran din.
Thing for each character would have made a lot of
Idealist, yeah.
And it is weird to show two of them, but not one for that third.
Introverted, intuitive, feeling and judging. Yes. Yes.
Whatever it is.
Yes.
Age of Ultron
Yan.
did that, and it
Advocates
kind of
o
slowed
ang
the movie
INFJ.
down. I love those scenes, but they also kind of slowed the pace. So maybe it was that kind of thing where
Yeah, yan yung
slowed the momentum,
MBTI ko.
but, you know, it was too much of an art film if they would have kept them in. Harriet, the linchpin of this movie, though, as great as Yelena is Bob, right? If Bob and the Sentry and the Void, if that doesn't work, and if you're not invested in that, I don't think the film works. So, what were your thoughts on Bob?
Ano lang ata
I thought
isang
like
EQ.
I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about him from the trailer. Like it seemed very much like I mean, obviously.
Ito tayo
I
Zambales. Oo nga eh, I love Zambales.
of the arc he was gonna go through.
Mayroon akong mangga dito by Zambales. Ay, from Zambales.
The emotion they gave that character and the humanity they gave him so quickly, especially the bonding between him.
Hindi ko kaya maging
So
extrovert.
surprisingly like sweet and well written, and I think you said
Nice skin medis pa. Uy, bakit nagka-spa dito sa leg ko? Hello spa.
And I think that they really make that so evident with the fact that like Yelena learning to
I love
how
mangoes.
to accept her own darkness,
Sweet, tasty mangoes. Yeah.
him to learn to accept his own, and I like that it didn't end with a big
Tulog na tayo 3 minutes.
big, fight. I like that it ended
Eating
with
nuts,
love.
yes.
I thought that was
Cebu dried mango, yeah.
Original Avengers are more defined.
What's your favorite movie series genre? I love adventure, fantasy,
Rachel, what about you?
um,
Bob and Sentry and Void.
action.
My glasses are unintentionally Bob's glasses from Top Gun Maverick. So I
Me
love
too.
when Lewis Pullman plays a character named Bob. I loved him so much.
Baka may magbagsak pa ng galaxy dyan. I'm missing 2 galaxies.
Sadness.
Actually, 3.
Because there's a line.
Yes, Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the
He
Rings.
said that really hit me. Now both times I've seen it, where he said,
Who wants
"You used to
Centipede?"
be such like a happy child.
I've seen that.
Called a happy child, and it like way
Okay naman.
when you get older and you go through things.
Actually, crush ko nga yung isang babae dun eh. Yung
Like, I have to be
sa Human
a happy
Centipede
person
1.
all the time. And I like that was her kind
Yung
of
isang
with
pinatay
the-
dun
with, like,
siya.
kind of light in my eyes. Like, I used to have a sister. I had all this love.
Mas movie person ako.
Where his
But I don't mind reading.
part of Bob, but he has this darker
Need ba
side.
ma-obtain yan sa isang live?
So I like
Yeah.
that them got this moment to kind of.
Fan kang thriller movies. I love thriller
It's not
movies.
different, but we both are such like we can both learn and lean on each other. And I really
Pero minsan
the
mapapa...
one who fought to get to him. And
Magugulatan kasi ako, so...
be like, I'm here, like, stop.
Masaya akong kasama sa mga thriller
I
movies.
think any of those other characters.
Parang ka sa 4D kasi gagalaw din yung upuan mo. Kunwari magkatabi tayo. Tapos biglang may gumanon. Gaganon rin ako.
It is all really there.
Legit.
With each other, and Yelena's compassion, which Nat also had. And I think that's
I love sci-fi.
kind of tied through to the Avengers as well, as like the widows are really compassionate even though they're great assassins and will murder somebody on set.
Anti-horror.
They also can find
Yeah,
compassion.
let's watch horror.
Well, part of their training
I love horror.
is to connect with people.
Wow! Honey Pimela.
I know you've
Naku,
read
lakas ko talaga yung Honey eh.
Jenkins' Daily Century books.
Thank you, Honey.
One of my favorite comics. He's an incredible character on the book.
Jeez.
Obviously, in this movie, he's a
You're on
smart
fire
artist as a
tonight.
whole. I'm curious as to your thought of
Andiyan ka na ba, Honey Pimiela? Ito
the
na.
time that they gave him was enough to do the character justice. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm certain.
No screenshots, okay?
Around and you imagine he'll
Yun yung outfit kasi isang shoot.
in the future Avengers movies.
Ayan.
But yeah, I mean,
Yun lang.
I was a fan reading those books when they were first coming out, the Century comics, and I
what I really liked about
Yo.
Coleman's performance and how
Okay, thank you, honey.
captures that character is that they really nail what
Skirt.
those books was that, like, you know, when they first announced that character, it was like, oh, Marvel is just doing their own.
Oh, happy na si Honey.
And what, you know, in typical Marvel fashion, like, he's not just
Margaret Reese, thank you.
you know, powerful do-gooder. Like, he's terrifying. He's like this weird mystery that you never really know. He's a total loose cannon. Because of his issues, you never really know which guy you're gonna get.
Sponsor mo handa
I
ng
thought that the
weeks.
way
Ha?
he was written and then played by Luz Pullman, they really nailed that in the movie. And in some scenes, he's kind of charming and friendly, and at other times, you're like really terrified what this guy is gonna do, you know. And
Uy, ano yun? Wow!
you have to be convincing.
Grabe!
This kind of jokey, dweeby,
Naganahan na.
kind of emerges from like a box. but
Thank you,
the
honey.
guy can, like, boldly
Grabe si Honey.
and
Damn.
turn them into, like, a
Yan ang
shadow,
pa-birthday. Ang lala mo.
stain on the pavement. And the movie, I thought,
Iba ka, iba ka.
pulled that trick off, and I was really impressed by that.
Sipag sa work.
You know, I was a fan of his in Top
Maklase yung pag-galaxy ah.
but he didn't really. You know, that was sort of one side. Here we get a whole additional side as well, and he manages to kind of pull both of those off. And yeah, again, like I think it's a very successful work of adaptation in terms of
Soon.
making this character what was
Oh,
in
Last Galaxy.
and using
Oh.
that exact thing to drive
Skirt.
the movie and to drive the whole story. And they found a way to even make it, you know, sort of a allegorical element as well. The whole notion of a void.
Pili kayo, yes or no?
That void inside. She names the void in the very first scene of the movie. She's talking about a void. It's not subtle, but you know, comics rarely are subtle.
Oo,
You know,
kanina pa
that's
antok.
kind of what we like about them. And
Oo, ngayon na nga.
turn these ideas into these sort of tangible things we can wrap our minds around. And I think the movie doesn't.
Hindi na mapag-isip ng tao.
Yeah, I thought it was
Medyo-
one of the better parts of the film. All right, well, unfortunately, we do got to wrap it up there. But as always, I just want to thank you guys for letting me know your thoughts.
Yes.
I want to say about the Thunderbolts, but first,
Okay, magja-jogging ako bukas kasi sabi ni Yes eh.
Now, I mentioned earlier that this movie makes me excited for Avengers Doomsday. Ever since they ousted Jonathan Majors and completely changed the villain and title of Avengers 5, it seemed like Marvel did not have a plan. And you guys know, I thought casting Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom
24 kilometer na yun. Di ko kaya.
They talk about how Sam is
What time
pissed
do you go
because
jogging?
he took the Avengers name. So
Um,
this is setting up a conflict in Doomsday that's all about legacy. How
7
do these
a.m.?
characters carry on the legacy
Sometimes
of the
8, depends on what time I
That's
get
the
up.
kind of story where it's perfect to introduce an evil version of Tony Stark. These characters could literally be fighting the memory of the original Avengers and having to prove themselves against
After neto, what I do is, iniwan ko bukas yung TV. Again. I mentioned this last live. Pero, iniwan ko yung TV so that I don't feel that I'm alone. And ilalagay kong movie is Infinity Wars, Marvel, Avengers, with Z, Avengers. Oh yes. Or bala ko ngang panoorin ulit eh. Like everything from the chronological order ng Marvel movies.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy, and this is
Ginawa ko yun when I was in Korea habang nag-work ako kasi nagbabantay lang naman ako ng guest house during that time. So wala akong masyadong ginagawa. Nag-ano lang ako ng mga bookings sa computer. Bookings ng guest house. So pag wala akong ginagawa, nanonood lang ako ng movies. And during that time talagang yun yung time na ilalabas yung Endgame.
There's the America's Ass commemorative stamp.
And during palabas ng Endgame, I was in Korea. So, yun yung time that I was really addicted to Marvel. And namimiss ko na yung movie house sa Korea. Ang gaganda ng mga... Alam mo, kapag may lalabas sa movie, kunwari may binibenta silang Tumblr, tapos yung mga Marvel characters. Ayun, yun yung pinakagusto ko sa Korean movie house. Ayan. So, ayun, pinanood ko yung Marvel movies from start to finish. So I started with Captain America, the First Avenger, the sunod-sunod. And And then, parang halos 1 week ko ata siya bago natapos lahat. Hanggang Thor, baba. Ayun. Pero ang fun lang nun, it's like getting paid while watching movies, di ba? Solid.
See the first Avenger in theaters. But guys, you also have to remember that in 1941,
Fan, yes or no? Yes.
not even at war with
Matik yan,
Germany.
yes.
Pitching a hero socking Hitler in the jaw was considered.
Mikey.
Kirby told a story about 3 thugs who were in the lobby.
Sige, wait lang. Nag-message na daw si Mikey.
I once had
Wow.
police call me up. Oh,
Damn.
we're waiting for you downstairs. We're gonna...
Life goal achieved. Wow.
Hold on, guys.
Thank you, Honey Pimiela. Salamat, salamat.
And
Tulog ko na yan. Sige, I will sleep.
take the elevator down. And, but there was nobody there. I
Thank you
looked
po.
because they wouldn't be there. And, you know, if they wanted to fight, well, what the heck?
And that's the thing. Simon and Kirby instilled that kind of courage.
생일 축하해, 리드님.
This film,
감사합니다.
motivation to fight is
Kurtzy, happy birthday, bro. Boy, tara, gala na tayo.
visual effects designer on the original Star Wars trilogy and
Onje, onje.
He also directed the highly underrated film The Rocketeer. So The Rocketeer is, I think, largely why Marvel tapped him for this movie.
Pinaabot lang goal para patulugin. Thank you po.
Now the jetpack was given to him by Howard Hughes, who was the model.
Thank you, Honey Pimiela. Matulog ka na rin po. Good luck sa
Howard gives Steve
iyong
just like Howard Hughes gave
work.
the jetpack. So the movie opens in the Arctic with Steve being
Grabe.
nice. Now I actually think this is one of the movies
That made my day.
but I'll talk about that later in the video. Now, you guys probably know that Steve was originally going to enter the MCU in The Incredible Hulk. There is a deleted scene where Banner attempts suicide, and the resulting avalanche was going to free Captain America from the ice. Yeah, this is much better. Yes, it is. But this movie does name another monster that's responsible for Cap's release. Climate change.
Thank you po.
Landscape's changing all the time.
Now, believe it or not, this entire
Tomorrow
movie
again.
was filmed on a smoke
Hi, Shy.
with a green screen.
Hi, Jel.
The sun behind them is
Hi,
actually
Tampogaw.
is on tracks, so they can create the illusion of movement. They also say,
Sana walang nag-record.
because after people claimed
Bakit?
an alien ship
What if may
crashed into
nag-record?
Roswell in the 1950s, the government said that it was merely a weather balloon. But this remark actually isn't far off because this crash was
Kailangan mag-end
associated with
live. I will end na.
Tesseract. Now, when they cut a hole in the ship's
I will
roof,
sleep.
active light shines down. One of the movie's many homages to Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indy discovers the Well of Souls. Now, this whole sequence was shot on the same set as the final fight. In fact, they actually had to pause filming the climax so they could dress up the set to look frozen, and then they had to unfreeze it for the final shots they needed. This was one of 115 sets designed for the film, almost one per page of the screenplay. Now, after that brief tease, we go to Tonesburg, which we first saw here in the year 500 in Thor, and then again as the setting...
Number ka sa puso. Anong number ako sa puso? Stream again soon? Yes, maybe tomorrow.
Showed a giant Hydra tank rolling through the town, chasing this man who was trying to warn the caretaker.
Alam mo ang gagawin bukas.
Also, notice the code name of the movie was Frostbite, which is also the name of the Blu-ray.
Again, guys, let's all sleep. I won't keep you up na. Number 1 kasi,
Notice
okay.
the headlights in the car are slits, like the eyes of a Hydra.
So yeah,
But
I will see you again tomorrow.
during the war, people taped up their
Thank you,
headlights.
Meyer. Ano yun? Meyer_Mara. Thank you.
Wheels, you know, in case
I'll see you soon. Maraming salamat po. And yeah, thank you for all the birthday greetings. You guys made my day already.
the car is 28
Kahit nakasimula pa lang.
radius of almost 40 feet.
I'll see you soon.
700
Bye.
horsepower engine just to move the damn thing. Hugo Weaving based his German accent partially on the great director Werner Herzog.
I would like to see the baby.
And notice that we can see this
Happy born day, C13. Thank you.
marker here in his neck that shows the skin mask that he's wearing to cover his red skull. So in the comics, the red skull
Tulog na kayo, ah.
appeared in Cap's very first
And ipag-pray nyo na hindi ako magka-sleep paralysis again today. I mean tonight. Don't forget to pray, drink, eat, whatever, and sleep. Goodbye. Peace out. Pray, drink, eat.